and gentlemen, good morning at Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley. It is the Championship Sunday of the 2021 Wisconsin High School Bowling Club State Championships. Our competition continues this morning with our Division II Girls Team Finals. Teams, when I call your team name, we will not introduce the entire team by name again. We've done enough of that, but we will call your team name. Please come on down to your lanes, and you can soon start with practice. Let's first introduce the number 3 seed, the Monona Grove Silver Eagles. Monona Grove will be facing the number 1 seed, Peshtigo Bulldogs. Special thanks again today to Storm, the Bowlers Company, also our apparel company, H5G, and Pepsi. You can watch today's competition on Bowlstream TV. Log on to bowlstreamtv.com. Also find it live and recorded after on YouTube. Again, check it out on Bowlstream TV. My name is Jesse Nelson from ESPN Wisconsin with Emil Williams Jr. on the call. Good luck and high scores to our Division II Girls Team Championship match.
Just in the nick of time, as the phrase goes. Back with you here on Bowlstream TV as we get started with the team championships now. Girls Team Division II specifically, and it pits Monona Grove, who had to come from the last night's stepladder finals and ultimately made their way against top seed Peshtigo, who had been waiting in the wings, if you will, and to determine who they were going to face. We know who it is now, and for all the details, I welcome in my main man, ESPN Madison's very own, Jesse Nelson.
Thanks, Emil, man. This is so exciting. We get two teams that have been some of the classes of Division II girls team bowling over the last few years. The number 1 seed is the Peshtigo Bulldogs. They are the only team in the team championships today, either Division I or II, for the boys or the girls, who did not win their district this year. They finished 2nd place in District 8 with Bayport finishing number 1, won their way here. Here they are as the number 1 seed. Great qualifying round yesterday with the 15 games bowled all throughout the day here at the Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley. And meanwhile, the Monona Grove Silver Eagles, they weren't in the top 5 last season, but they did finish 1st place in District 4 this year. 4th place finish in 2018, 2nd place finish in 2019, losing to Beaver Dam in the championship match. We'll see if the Silver Eagles can get over the hump and get a state championship here this morning.
Oh, we're certainly going to find out, and a really good shot and a good start for Monona Grove there.
Yeah, they get a strike to begin here. The Monona Grove Silver Eagles on the season with a 67% fill percentage per game. It's just 59% for Peshtigo, so a significant advantage it would seem in the statistics here for Monona Grove entering play. Strike percentage 33-29 in favor of MG as well. So we'll see if they can capitalize on that. Tough start, though, over on lane 6 for the Silver Eagles, as This is going to be Maya Frank, who is up in the second frame and has a split with a 7-pin in the far left corner, and that's a 6-pin over on the right side. Peshtigo converts its first spare of the match in frame 1. Bulldogs needed a mark there to match that strike for Monona Grove. Every pin matters, 2-game total pin count, Emil, and unfortunately the Silver Eagles don't come up with a single pin on that spare. It's an open, so a 26 through 2 frames for Monona Grove. Peshtigo coming off a spare. Second ball, should say second frame, and this is going to be a split equally over on lane 7 for the Bulldogs. So a little tough out of the gates here. Monona Grove, frame 3. Crossover and a baby split.
You know, team bowling, Jesse, obviously the ultimate competition in regards to communication, everyone working together as one, and team sports in general, but especially when you get into the Baker format, each player serves a particular role. Lead off, for example, able to get the team fired up, fill frames, help read ball reaction, help the coaches read ball reaction. Obviously, you get down to the anchor player, you know, in a lot of clutch and pressure type situations.
Brooke Way for Monona Grove firing, trying to pick up this baby split. She ends up getting 1 back-to-back open frames for Monona Grove, 35 through 3 frames. Third frame now on lane 7 for the Peshtigo Bulldogs. Pretty good ball, straight on
nice.
over that second arrow.
Nicely
and our
done.
first strike for Peshtigo comes in frame 3.
That was a very good shot there, and then that's the kind of shot that you need, A, to get yourself back in that moment, and then B, you get your teammates fired up as well.
That was a shot over on lane 6 for Anisha Perkins of Monona Grove, the 4th bowler in the lineup. Peshtigo's doubled up, though. How about that? Frames 3 and 4, back-to-back strikes for the Bulldogs.
We should mention, by the way, the kind of non-traditional lanes in use, if you will. Lanes 6 and 7 instead of the traditional 5, 6, 7, and 8. A lot of that due to COVID protocols. It allows each team to kind of have their own pair of lanes for spacing purposes. And in a weird way, I kind of like it. And the way that the staff has scheduled and staggered the times, we should go from one match on 6 and 7 to our next match will be on 8 and 9, and it'll be a nice flow going on here as we get down to it.
Peshtigo shot, trying to get 3 in a row, and they'll get it.
Oh, man.
And this is impressive, Emil, because there is not a single senior on the Peshtigo team entering play here this year. A team that has seen so much success over the years, but it's a young team this year. There are 3 seniors on this Monona Grove squad that, again, 2 years ago finished as the state runners-up to Beaver Dam in 2019. They're trying to get that championship. It's been elusive a couple of times. They've been in these semifinals and in the TV finals here on Sunday, so we'll see if the Silver Eagles can get it. They've in a little bit of a hole here to start this first game of the 2-game total pin count format for this Division II Girls Team State Championship.
And that is important to keep in mind, the format, 2 games total pin. So if in this situation with Peshtigo on a nice run here, let's say Monona Grove loses this, air quotes, by score-wise, they are not eliminated, they have not lost.
Yeah.
It is a 2-game total pinfall match.
Zoe Darwin picks up a nice spare there as the anchor bowler for Monona Grove. And we've seen some incredible comebacks, Emil, in these 2-game total pin count formats. I mean, I was on a team for Muskego in our district championship that trailed by like 87 pins, I believe the number was, after one game. We just stunk. We couldn't find the pocket at all in our first game. Switch lanes, and the team we were up against had the same issue on our set. We were able to come storming back, ended up winning the match by like 10, 12 pins. So you're not out of it no matter how much of a deficit you think you're in, especially in this stage.
I've seen that a lot at the professional levels. There are events, the Masters, the Queens, for example. All of those events are 3-game total pinfall in match play, and you see the same things. Really good shot there from Peshtigo.
Yeah, over the second arrow, that seems to be the line that's working for the Bulldogs here in this match, and that's a 9 count with a 10-pin left. And another split now for Monona Grove over in the 7th frame on lane 6. That's a tough break for MG. So you got to get one here. You got to work on the total pin count. Just keep yourself in it here in game one. When you get into game two, if you get into this late stage, you can go for the split because it's your only hope.
Yeah, that's where you get into some situations where, right, you may have to forego count and able to try to go for a split to make the spare.
Open frame. The 10-pin missed in the 7th frame, so as you can see on your scoreboard there, Peshtigo with a 133 through 7. Monona Grove, after this one on the split, has a 101, so a 32-pin advantage for the Peshtigo Bulldogs with 3 frames to go.
Wow.
And they're right back at their striking ways in the 8th frame. Setting themselves up for a potential late game run here to carry a lot of momentum as they prepare to switch lanes. How about Brooke Way? Slow one, but it works its way back into the pocket. That was a good ball.
That was
good
a
read.
very good shot there from Brooke. One of the, again, 2 seniors on the squad. Headed to Stevens Point. She's going to major in forensics.
Whew.
How about that?
Good luck to her. That's awesome. You know what else is awesome? Peshtigo, when they strike, they get 2 in a row here in the 9th frame, heading into the 10th with a double. Big score could be coming here for the Bulldogs, set themselves up very nicely. Brookway converts a pressure spare in the 8th frame for Monona Grove. Credit to the Peshtigo Bulldogs head coaches Tony Strublick and Matt Kowalski, and all of the bowlers on the team as well. Madison Sachala, Emma Giroux, Sydney Lund, Brenna Fisher, Morgan Nicholas, and Beverly Block, all part of the Peshtigo Bulldogs, earning the #1 seed in this Division II Girls Team Championship. Monona Grove, the 3 seed, they defeated Wittenberg-Burnhamwood last night. Actually, they defeated West Bend East first in the quarterfinal with a total pin count 370 to 350. They trailed after the first game 192 to 180. And same thing, they trailed by 41 pins after the first game of the semifinal last night against Wittenberg-Burnhamwood, 193 to 152. Came storming back to a 217-175 win. So this is not a place that Monona Grove is unfamiliar, Emil, after being down after one game, which it appears they'll be heading into game 2 in this championship. But they've come back before. They know what it feels like. Experienced just last night in our quarterfinals and semifinals.
And that just means, obviously, they know how to overcome adversity and also withstand that adversity as well. So being down, obviously, not uncommon for them. And in some cases, over the years of calling a lot of bowling, Jesse, I'm sure you've seen this as well, some teams prefer it that way. Like,
yeah.
That becomes their mantra, if you will, and that's who they become.
Yeah, you don't want to dig yourself, a 60, 70 pin differential, but if you can be down, 12, 20, 25, like, that's definitely easy to make up. You just get one open for the other team in that second game. That's the difference. That was a big single pin spare in the 9th frame for Monona Grove. Seeing the 189 for Peshtigo. And the Bulldogs opened in the 10th frame off after a split. That was crucial, Emil, because this is potentially some free pins for Monona Grove to make up heading into match 2.
Yeah, you hate to see an open frame, especially in the 10th. On a double, losing some count, and obviously you've got a chance right there to really put some significant distance between yourselves and Monona Grove in this case. So now you give an opportunity to, gain a few back, as you mentioned. Spare on the way, that is good.
Zoe Darwin, hard way, but she got it.
And now Zoe can also, if necessary, she can try some things, try a different ball on this fill. Coaches will advise if necessary, but they're going to switch games. And the other thing to keep in mind too, Jesse, is from the coaching perspective, you're also kind of paying attention to what not the opponent on the lane, but you're looking at the lane and how the opponent is playing that lane, because you have to go over there.
Exactly, yeah. So this is a good opportunity for Peshtigo to see how things are going. Hey, a crossover strike. What's rule number 1, Emil? Don't complain about a strike. Monona Grove needed it bad there at the end. They capitalize on the open for Peshtigo. 189, 158. Our difference is 31 in favor of Peshtigo heading into game 2. Monona Grove definitely able to overcome that, as we saw in their quarterfinal and semifinal appearances last night. While we have a moment as the teams prepare to switch lanes, let's introduce the Monona Grove team to everyone, coached by Dave Gunterberg and Sadie Frank. The bowlers for the Monona Grove Silver Eagles: Marissa Anderson, Zoe Darwin, Maya Frank, Anisha Perkins, Lucy Stebbins, and Brooke Way. Silver Eagles first place in District 4, the greater Madison area. As I mentioned, 4th place in 2018, 2nd place in 2019, didn't qualify for the top 5 last year. we'll see if Monona Grove can come away with a Division II girls team state championship here today. Peshtigo has some state tournament experience as well. Just last year, they took 5th in the 2020 girls Division II state tournament, so they didn't make it to Sunday a year ago. But Peshtigo is a name that we've heard many times at this state tournament over the last decade. A lot of familiarity getting and having success at these state tournament levels. So we'll see if the Bulldogs can bring home another trophy here today.
Absolutely. I want to make a quick note to Gary Callis watching. Appreciate you tuning in on Bowl Stream TV. Gary says, am I the only one seeing essences of PWA bowlers in these young ladies' forms? No, Gary, you are not wrong on that. What I've come to find and learn, especially when we're talking about young female athletes or bowlers, a lot of those same traits, they're very good fundamentally, generally speaking, and those fundamentals then carry over to the collegiate levels and obviously the professional level. So like Diana mentioned earlier in the singles competition, something as mundane as shooting single pins all the time, constantly working on fundamentals to keep them sharp, because your fundamental base will remain with you generally throughout your career.
Yeah, it's interesting, Emil, because we didn't actually get a chance to see the warm-ups on our stream, but as the teams were warming up, a lot of times you're trying to find that strike line. You're trying to find exactly where you want to be throwing, set your lineup. It's important for the coaches to see that. But when we were warming up, when on my bowling days, too, as part of our high school team, you always wanted to take a few shots at a 10-pin, a 7-pin, just make sure that you felt comfortable going for those corners. You don't want to be cold going into that for the first time in a match if you can help it.
It's important. You realize how important it is when you miss one. By then it's too late.
Speaking of single pin spares, how about both teams picking them up in the first frame to start game number 2? Remember, Peshtigo leads by 31 heading into this one. Second ball over on our left lane for the Bulldogs, and this one goes well left. It's going to be a difficult spare. There are 5 pins remaining there. How about Maya Frank over on our right lane for Monona Grove? 9 count. Oh, and actually a scoring correction, Emil. That was not a made spare in frame 1 for Monona Grove. Apparently that...
Interesting. It either had to be a
so.
foul, because I didn't see the ball go into the gutter. At least I didn't think I did.
Yeah, I'd have to check that, see if we could get a official word on what happened there with that one. So apologize for missing that one, but it was an open frame. And speaking of which, Peshtigo has opened. I thought that was going to be a difficult conversion with 5 pins remaining. They get 4. And as you can see, it's a 24 count for the Bulldogs after 2. That's a little close cutting across the lane, but the Bulldogs able to get it. Or excuse me, Monona Grove, Silver Eagles able to get it.
Start it up, Rookie Bear.
Peshtigo strike. There it is. That's how you bounce back from an open frame. Just come back strong, knock them all down, get that momentum right back. That is so important in a sprint to the finish like this championship is.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think I've seen or been involved in a bowling situation where the match was going to go so fast and it was also going to crown a champion at the same time. Like,
yeah.
This is
they race through these.
We're on warp
Normally,
speed right here. I mean, I know it's Baker, and Baker's fast, but we're on another level.
Normally, we would see the semifinal match where the winner of the stepladder last night would play the 2 seed, and then the winner would play the 1. Due to COVID protocols this year, they changed that up a little bit, where it's only championship matches. The 2 seed played last night against the stepladder as that continued to play out. So that's how Monona Grove ended up getting here today. Peshtigo advanced all the way here as the number 1 seed after the 15-game qualifier on Friday and Saturday. Single pin spare on the left side. Bulldogs continuing to increase that lead. Monona Grove's going to need to start finding strikes here pretty quick. Anisha Perkins, right side, knock them all down. Yes.
Nice shot.
Monona Grove needed that one because they're hanging around with spares, but you got to get strikes. And down 31 entering this match, or entering this game 2 of the match, you want to make sure that you get a couple together and at least put some pressure on Peshtigo to continue to mark, and maybe you get a break like this could potentially be. It's an 8 count, but not an easy spare coming across the lane for the anchor bowler for the Bulldogs.
I believe that's Emma Gurney. I did get an update just from our good viewers in the chat, thanks to Ashley. She did say that the ball in reference to the first frame open. Ball did go into the gutter.
Awesome. Thanks, Ashley.
First.
Appreciate the clarification there. It's a good spare. Now that's 3 marks in a row after the open frame in frame 2 for Peshtigo. And if they can spare and continue throughout, that's going to be important for the Bulldogs. They don't have to put a bunch of strikes together to win this thing, but you can't afford any empty frames the rest of the way. And Monona Grove just had one of those. And it opened in the 5th. And Monona Grove is in a difficult situation with 5 frames left. Crossover, 9 count, Peshtigo. How about the MG response? Coming the other way, that's a strike. Silver Eagles not done yet.
And you expect that each and every time out. When the opponent gives you some small level of hope, you expect the pins to go down. And we've been talking about, what's the saying? When you get a strike that maybe you don't like, you accept it. How does it go?
Rule number 1, Emil, never complain about a strike.
Never. And that is so true in the Baker format, without a doubt.
I don't know if we ever got to writing rule number 2, but we knew rule number 1 was never complain about a strike. Another spare for Peshtigo. That's 4 straight marks.
Wow.
Uh-oh, we got a match.
That's a huge shot there.
MG, 2 in a row.
What a shot.
Just what the Silver Eagles needed at this juncture. Peshtigo starting to feel a little pressure. Crossover, and that was light coming across the head pin. It's a 3 count remaining on the right side. How about MG? Tough one is gonna sail left. And a lot of pins left on this spare opportunity. That's just a 4 count coming off of the double.
Yeah, the unfortunate situation there is they lose a little count, obviously, but it's still in a very good position to try to make this comeback.
Yeah, Monona Grove in front in this game, but remember they trailed by 31 entering this game after a 189-158 win for Peshtigo in game 1. 2-game total pin count. Another spare for the Bulldogs, 5 straight marks. MG needs it, it's an open frame. 126 in the 8th. Peshtigo only had a 3-1 record on the season. They only played 4 matches this year in the shortened pandemic season. Finished second in District 8 behind Bayport, who went undefeated with a 4-0 mark. Peshtigo as a team season average 150. Their high game in qualifying was a 237 yesterday. Capable of putting up some big pin totals when it matters most.
And unfortunately, Jesse, Anisha from Monona Grove just put one in the channel. And now Peshtigo has a double after the trip 4 in the 8th frame by Beverly Block. Morgan Nicholas comes through. The best thing for Monona Grove was that they were not on a spare, so they did not lose any count.
Yeah, you can still get the spare here, and unfortunately it's a 7 count. Would have been a split, so who knows if that would have played out exactly the same. Peshtigo can feel it, Emil.
Yep.
Bulldogs are going to win a state title.
It's just pins away at this point.
10th frame. Keep it on the lane. That's a 7 count, and that's going to be enough.
That's all you need.
The Monona Grove Silver Eagles, for the 2nd time in 3 years, will finish as the state runners-up for the Division II girls team competition. Heck of a season for Monona Grove, finishing 6-4 overall. High game in qualifying that they threw over the last couple of days was a 205. Qualifying average score of 175. And the Silver Eagles, I mean, it's a long season. To finish 2nd and to make the run they did last night in the step ladder just to get to this point, a lot to be proud of for Monona Grove. But on the other side, the Peshtigo Bulldogs, the Peshtigo fans are always some of the loudest we get at this competition, Emil. I love the energy they bring, and even though there aren't as many here this year, it's cool to see that there are those that are in attendance getting loud for everyone to experience.
And you can't tell right now though that there aren't as many people as there normally would.
No.
Now I'm saying that as someone who is watching the event for the first time, but I also know that when you get the right crowd involved in any match, it's going to sound like a very packed house, and that's exactly what we have here.
In the bleachers behind us as Peshtigo wraps up with a 181 for a total of 370. They're going to win the state title. The fans are standing in the bleachers. You can hear the chants. There are two pinata-looking things hanging from the rafters. I am not exactly sure what the deal is.
That is fantastic, actually.
And I'm not sure I want to know. But Peshtigo, the party will be on. Congratulations to the Bulldogs. Division II girls state champions. We're going back to Center Bowl, celebrating tonight. All right, Emil, so the way this is going to work, we are going to wait on doing our championship awards presentations until after the Division I match takes place. So for those that want to see the medals and the trophy presentation, we're going to get to that after our Division I match comes up here in just a few minutes. So very exciting stuff. Peshtigo wins the state championship. Monona Grove, congratulations on a second place finish. And coming up next, we're going to have the Division I girls championship. Hey, look at that. There's a little pinata thing. The llamas. I have no idea what's going on up there. But congratulations. Everybody on the stream gets to see whatever the heck is going on in the rafters at Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley. Is there candy in those things? What's going on up there? It's Llama Cam on Bowlstream TV. The girls Division I championship is coming up. The Sheboygan Co-op program taking on Holman Bangor in what should be an exciting Division I girls team championship. So stay tuned. We're going to get to introducing our teams here momentarily. Emil, that was fun. And the pressure was on for Peshtigo to continue to get those spares as they continued in Game 2 of that match. They got the lead early. They strung a couple of strikes together, but the spares, when it mattered most, is what won that game for them.
In Baker competition, the best thing that you can do as a player is fill frames, and there is no doubt about it. That's what it's all about. And if the team generally that fills the most frames is the team that's going to win. That is true in singles competition. That's certainly true in team competition. And now for the introductions of the teams for the boys Division II championship, boys co-ed team Division II, here is Jesse Nelson.
Presentation that will take place after the conclusion of our Division I girls team championship. Let's go ahead and get to that Division I state championship match. Introducing our teams. The number 3 seed, Holman Bangor. Number 1 seed for the Division I girls team championships, Sheboygan South, Sheboygan North, Sheboygan Falls, Leesburg. Let's get out there! Let's do it, girls! We got this!
Oh, man.
Lanes will be turned on momentarily for 10 minutes of practice, and then our Division I state championship match will begin. 2-game total pin count. And a reminder for fans in attendance that want to share with the action with people at home, today's game, today's match, today's championships are being broadcast on Bowlstream TV on YouTube and bowlstreamtv.com. Again, tell your friends and have your friends tell their friends. bowlstreamtv.com.
My man Jesse always doing the double dip, if you will. PA announcing on Championship Sunday, and of course, right here in the booth with us here on Bowl Stream TV.
So, for clarification, Emil, we're just going to call the Sheboygan team Sheboygan.
Okay.
Because, I mean, there's 4 different schools co-oping as part of this program. Sheboygan South, Sheboygan North, Sheboygan Falls, Oostburg. I really don't want to say those, like, 15 syllables every time we're going to be referring to them. So let's just go with Sheboygan for the purpose of our match here today.
And I apologize, by the way. I misspoke earlier. I meant to say Girls Team Division 1. In regards to your announcement and what we were about to watch, what match was upcoming. A little snagu by me on the schedule. So this is the Girls Team Division 1. Sheboygan South, Sheboygan North, Sheboygan Falls, and
Oostburg.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it. And Sheboygan is the number 1 seed. They finished in 3rd place in the 2020 challenge a year ago. Sun Prairie and ultimately Kenosha Tremper finishing ahead of them a year ago. They are the champions of District 7A. Sheboygan comes into this one, a good history, good program, and obviously the co-op putting it all together. They have made for quite the team and a formidable foe here for the number 3 seed, Holman Bangor, which comes in as, again, the number 3 seed. They took first place in their district as well, District 5, out of that La Crosse area. And Holman Bangor, again, it's a co-op program between the Holman Vikings and the Bangor Cardinals, so that's what we'll be seeing today. Holman Bangor is wearing the purple jerseys, which you'll see on the left side of your screen right now. That's the Holman Bangor team. And on the right side, you see the red, white, and blue of the Sheboygan program. So Sheboygan on the right, Holman Bangor on the left, as we get set for our championship match. Qualifying very kind to both of these teams in their 15-game qualifying sessions. Sheboygan averaged 179 on the season compared to the 175 for Holman Bangor, but in qualifying, Sheboygan averaged a 192 per game, while Holman Bangor averaged a 186. High percentages, high games, too, for these teams. Very similar. Sheboygan had a 237 as their best mark of their 15-game qualifier, and Holman Bangor had a 233. So, again, very similar statistics across the board for this one. Just look at the team stats for the season, Emil. Strike percentage, Sheboygan 40%, Holman Bangor 39%, nearly identical. Fill percentage, 74% for both teams. Their season average separated by just 4 pins. I mean, this is going to be as tight as it can get, statistically speaking, for 2 teams meeting in a championship match.
Well, and theoretically, you know, and without seeing the entire competition, but based on the stats, you would certainly say, 2 evenly matched teams, and 2 where you could arguably say, well, you know, these are 2 of the best teams here, and, you know, we expect them to be in a situation like this, and that's competing for a state title.
Yeah, and so it's going to be interesting here watching the warm-ups, how each team goes about approaching this. And it's a different format this year, as we've alluded to, Emil, but it's different in this sense. The team that wins that semifinal usually has all kinds of momentum coming in.
Yep.
They have to wait for a little bit of warm-ups for the number 1 seed, but I really like the position that the number 2 or 3 seed is normally in heading into the championship match when those semifinals take place on Sunday. Now with both teams having a full night of rest, it's not too early in the morning for the high school kids anymore. They got plenty of rest.
That's a great point.
Energized, ready to go. You can feel the electric atmosphere of the crowd a little more so than the singles competition was earlier. This is about the time that everybody starts to wake up and kind of be excited for these championships. We saw it with Peshtigo, and we're going to see it here with Sheboygan and Holman Bangor as well.
Yeah, I think what bowling maybe doesn't get a lot of credit for, especially in the high school and collegiate space where team bowling is prominent, is the impact that a crowd and support system can have overall. We you know, obviously you call other sports basketball. You were just at multiple games this weekend. I've done multiple games, not this weekend, but just across my broadcasting life. And we know how important crowds can be, home teams, et cetera, helping the team on the floor. In this case, helping the team on the lanes elevate their game, and I think we're going to have that here.
And Emil, it was never more apparent than this year, calling a lot of Madison area schools where they had to travel outside of Dane County in order to just play games at all, traveling upwards of an hour, maybe more away, and with limited fan attendance. It was such a different atmosphere when basketball teams across the state met in the state championships this weekend in La Crosse and in Oshkosh. When you've got a couple thousand people filling up these arenas, that noise is so much different than the, 50 to 100 people that were in attendance in smaller gyms throughout the course of the year. So, yeah, it's the same here. You get the atmosphere, the energy. It's not as full as it normally would be on Championship Sunday, but it's still a great atmosphere. And you saw how loud the Peshtigo fans got a few minutes ago. I got a feeling our Sheboygan fans behind us and the Holman Bangor fans here as well are going to be making plenty of noise for this Division I title game, too.
Man, if you heard anything when you completed your introductions, they went ham. ham. They were exceptionally loud. And, I mean, that is what, at this level, really at any level, but that's what it's all about, right? Fans supporting the team on the field, on the lanes, on the court, and the team kind of reciprocating that, feeling that support, and ultimately getting things done. So I'm very anxious, very excited to see what's going to happen. Loving everyone's jerseys and get-ups and shirts today. And we still got bowling going on the high end and the Storm Championship double. So, man, we've got a ton of stuff happening.
Yeah, special thanks again to Storm, being one of our great sponsors of the Wisconsin High School Bowling State Championships here. Also, H5G is the apparel company here for sweatshirts and all the bowlers to be able to take home some apparel from their accomplishments here at the state title in Ashwaubenon. And also, special thanks to Pepsi, proud partner of the Wisconsin High School Bowling Championships as well. Why don't we meet our teams while warm-ups continue here, Emil? So for Sheboygan, again, third place a year ago, trying to win the title this year in Division I. They are coached by Lisa Roerdink and Bill Hilbert. And our bowlers for the Sheboygan Co-op program, Kelly Whipple, Gabby Voskel, Melanie Hilbert, Lindsay Pudwill, Jolene Bruce, Izzy Anderson, Juliana Bergman, Jenna Krieger, and Sadie Anderson. That is the Sheboygan team, the number 1 seed, with a bye all the way to this championship. Holman Bangor, they bowled last night, and they took down one of the powerhouses in Sun Prairie. Sun Prairie is as good as it gets in Wisconsin high school bowling. Holman Bangor took them down, had a 202-192 lead after game 1, and then just exploded for a 214-137 win in game 2, an overall win of almost 100 pins difference. Holman Bangor, they are coached by Charles Callan and Holly Jenks. And the bowlers for the Holman Bangor program, Anna Callan, Hope Minette, Haley Jones, Caitlin Herman, Molly Bachman, Jaron Freight, and Lauren Kadermis. Again, 2 evenly matched teams, Emil, all season long. You look at the statistics, you look at fill percentage, strike percentage, average, and even how they fared yesterday and throughout the qualifying. This is going to be as tight as it comes.
I tell you just mentioned Sun Prairie, and congrats obviously to the program. One of the, as you mentioned, one of the great programs in the state. I don't have many Wisconsin connections, but I do have a small connection to Sun Prairie, as Mr. and Mrs. Brunick have been coaching that program for quite some time.
Oh, forever, yeah.
Their son Bo actually went to Lindenwood University with me, where he spent a little bit of time there. So Bo was a teammate of mine. And, of course, got to know Mr. and Mrs. Bruno. It's been a while since I've seen them. I was kind of expecting to see them because I know how much success that they have.
Every year. It's one of the first times
Sun
that
Prairie.
I don't see Sun Prairie on the docket here at our championship day.
Yep. So shout out to the Brunicks.
Yeah, they are an incredible program. Those are 2 incredible coaches. And it was a tall task last night for Holman Bangor to take down one of the powerhouses. I mean, just think of it any time you're in an NCAA tournament. You're facing, even if Duke's not Duke for what they used to be, it still – It means a lot to take down Kentucky. It means a lot to take down Duke, and that's what Sun Prairie is in the Wisconsin high school bowling scene. They're one of the Blue Bloods.
Sometimes it gets down to that program prestige, right? I don't know if you used to play any of the college football, college basketball games, right, where you create your player, you're on the recruiting trail, and one of the things is program prestige. I mean, ultimately, that's what you're looking at with the Sun Prairie, right? The history is there. Mm-hmm. They've got this level of probably invincibility, if you will, because they've been so dominant for so long. So to get over the hump, if you will, for any team who would have done it, it meant the world, certainly.
And I'm not sure what's going to happen next year. I'm actually a resident of Sun Prairie right now, and Sun Prairie is adding a second. They're adding a second high school into the city. So it was just one Sun Prairie high school. That was one of the largest in the state. As the city continues to grow and people from Madison continue to move out, they're going to actually have a Sun Prairie East and a Sun Prairie West next year. I don't know how that will impact the bowling program. It may be a co-op between the two schools still, or they may go their separate ways, but it'll be interesting to see how that affects not just bowling, but other sports across the Wisconsin high school landscape as well. Football, basketball, that's been a team that's been on the up and up in every sport, and I'm curious to see how that all plays out for them. But enough about Sun Prairie. They had a heck of a run, but they're not here today. We're talking about two teams in Sheboygan and Holmen Bangor playing for the Division I Girls Team State Championship here at Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley. Oh, man, the practice is done. We are ready to go.
You know what, I think when you mentioned the co-ops and how many of the schools in the same district have combined and figured out a way to field a team, I just think that is one of the most impressive things I've seen, especially with Sheboygan. I mean, that's 4 schools. 4. That's a lot. And to everyone to manage it, the coaching staff, obviously the parents, etc. But, you know, right now, Sheboygan's got a chance to win a state championship, and that's what it's all about.
For those unfamiliar, Sheboygan on the right side, the east side of the state of Wisconsin, right along Lake Michigan, a little north of Milwaukee. Holmen Bangor up in the northwest part of the state, up near kind of the La Crosse area is typically where that would be described, which I just became familiar with this week. I'd never been to La Crosse until 2 days ago, but I really enjoyed it up there.
First-hand introduction last night.
Drove past Bangor on the way into town. Warm-ups are done. This is where one of my favorite things, Emil, when the teams get in the huddles, they do their cheers, the crowd goes nuts, and it's the anticipation right before the start of the championship match.
Yes,
see if we can have a listen.
As Jesse mentioned, Sheboygan area on lane 7. Oh, I'm sorry. Lane 8.
They're on the left.
Lane 8. Again, non-traditional. Lane 8 and on lane 9, Holmen Bangor.
Yeah, Sheboygan on your left-hand side as you see it here in the red, white, and blue jerseys. And first up, it's Gabby Voskel leading it off for Sheboygan.
Voskel, a senior. Got a hook. Oh, that's a good shot.
That's a good line. Second arrow.
Oh.
If that's a sign of things to come, it's going to be fun.
I had a lot of mixed emotions about that shot because at first I was like, I don't know. Then I saw it get down in the break point. I'm like, oh, that's a good shot.
And Molly Bachman leading it off for Holmen Bangor. And that was more of a straight shot. A little right of second arrow. And I'm not sure if that was the mark she was intending for and just didn't get the reaction she wanted, or maybe she just threw it a little too far out to the right. I think if she keeps that in on that second board, that seems to be where in the singles competition and in the team challenge here so far we've seen success.
And important to note, I think specifically for Molly, she's in the right zone on the lanes. I think we saw all of the singles players, especially our young female athletes, have success in that part of the lane. And a two-handed young woman. You don't see that very often.
That's Juliana Bergman.
How about
for the
that?
Sheboygan squad.
I'll tell you, Jesse, I've done a lot of professional women's bowling events, a lot of collegiate events, and one of the top questions that we get, have you seen any two-handed women or two-handed young athletes? And generally the answer is no, but within the last 2 to 3 years, I've seen an upstick in two-handed young ladies, specifically around this age, teenage years, able to learn the style early and then grow into it as they move on.
Part of the evolution of the sport as we've seen over the last decade. Thank you, Jason Belmonte. Tough break for Juliana, though, over on the left side. That's an open frame. In frame 2, as you can see on the scoreboard, that's a 26 for the Sheboygan squad through 2. And thanks to the single pin spare on the right-hand side for the Holmen Bangor team and Molly Bachman, now an opportunity for Lauren Kadermis to step up and, in her hopes, give Holmen Bangor an early lead. Good smooth delivery over that second arrow. It comes a little strong, though. Didn't have the speed that I think we may have been looking for there. It was a little slow, so she might have to move a little inside, throw it a little more out to get that reaction on the back end if that's the speed she stays consistent with.
Yeah, and the lanes were redressed, so this is fresh after the singles competition. So these team competitors are not bowling on what was left over from the singles competition this morning, and on the fresh, again, everyone seemed to be favoring, somewhere between 5 and 10. 7, 8 look pretty good from a Boers perspective. So, but like you mentioned, certain things, speed control, and obviously execution will play a role.
Lindsey Pudwill comes a little high on the left side for Sheboygan. I mentioned both teams with a 74% fill percentage, virtually identical as we head into play on the season. And what that says to me, Emil, as we see the spare converted over on the right side, and this could be one of the differences. 2 spares to start for Holman Bangor, 1 open already here for the Sheboygan team. When you got 74%, that means you're either going to have 2 or 3 open frames per game. If you can limit it to 2, you might be in the driver's seat to win a championship this afternoon.
And I'd bet if we were to go, full-on sabermetrics on that is, that'd have a lot to do with wins and losses, certainly as well.
And speaking of which, there is the second open back-to-back for Sheboygan. A little right of the mark, ended up in the gutter. 8 count on the right-hand side for Holman Bangor. That's Caitlin Herman in the 3 spot, for Holman Bangor. Kelly Whipple in the 4th position for Sheboygan. In between the 2nd and 3rd board, a little inside of the mark. I think if that's what they're aiming for, it's a little too far inside, and that's why they're coming up high on the head pin. I think you got to go a little further outside.
I think, and I wouldn't rule out the small entity where nerves could be playing a role in this. Obviously, it's a state title on the line, and it's a quick pace, right? There's only 2 games between deciding a champion, and so they don't have a lot of time to waste. And so the pressure is on to instantly get into a good rhythm, figure out what the lanes are doing, and then obviously still try to throw a good shot at the same time.
2 game total, remember, so those 2 pins picked up on the open, important for Sheboygan. Now the anchor bowler, or correction, this is the 4th bowler over on the right side for Holman Bangor and Haley Jones. She leaves all 4 of the front pins on the left side of the lane. Anchor bowler for Sheboygan stepping up in the form of Melanie Hilbert. 3 straight opens for Sheboygan. Got to turn the fortunes around. Go to the anchor bowler to do it. Looks like a good line. Comes up a little high, but in the pocket well enough for some solid pin action and a much-needed strike for Sheboygan.
And I think if you're Sheboygan right there, you couldn't have asked for a better anchor player than, Melanie Hilbert, because A, she's a very good player, and B, she bowled already this morning on this condition in the singles competition.
That's right.
And so has a very good idea of how the lanes are going to play and what they need to do. So that's why she's in that position. A, to be clutch when she needs to, but also be that calming force. And now the team has seen their anchor bowler strike. Let's see what happens here.
Gabby Voskel makes the adjustment. Good comeback and right into the pocket. It was a little light, but she did just enough to make it work.
Listen, Jesse, I've been a part of matches where myself against specifically Newman University. Excellent shot right there. That was the best shot of the match by any team at that moment in time, and I believe that was Anna Callan of Holman Bangor.
Yeah, that was Anna Callan, the anchor bowler for Holman Bangor, coming up with a big clutch shot there. Powerful strike.
The situation where a Baker team could have no clue what's going on in the lanes. 4 opens in a row, but you get to the anchor player, they strike, and all of a sudden the second half of the game, they're back in business because they got their anchor player.
And you flip that lineup around, and look at this. 2 in a row for Sheboygan, hoping for 3. Two-handed Juliana Bergman, and comes up with a 9 count.
That was a much better shot in comparison to the first shot in frame number 2.
Molly Bachman in the 1 position. Second chance for Holman Bangor. 9 count with a 10-pin remaining.
The pace. It's funny how the Baker format works sometimes, because if you get a team that's off to a very good start and they're striking, they're probably going to keep going. The rhythm is going to be quick. And then sometimes you get these kind of lulls in between where both teams are kind of figuring out what to do, what they should do. Very interesting with the non-traditional, obviously the full pair is not in play. It's the same thing. You're still going to have to switch lanes, but there's something maybe slightly different, but they're still bowling next to one another, and I like this non-traditional a lot.
Hey, Emil, remember when we talked about the importance of single pin
pins.
spares? I direct you to the video feed of Bullstream TV
That's
right
got a
now.
hook. That's got a hook.
That's tough. That is the 4th open today in this first game for Sheboygan.
And that's one of those things, you can see Coach Bill already going to his player there and Juliana and talking to her and just saying, hey, you know, don't worry about it. But that's one of those things where she will learn. And I'm sure at some point even, you know, maybe think about getting some plastic into her arsenal and going straight at spares. But that's all in the learning process.
So, okay, a team that averages 74% fill on the year has already had 4 open frames in game 1 of this 2-game total pin count. Much needed strike. And again, if you can string a couple here together at the end, you're not out of it.
Yeah, I think for Sheboygan, it's really just about trying to throw the best shot that they can at this moment. And the good news is that Holman Bangor is not striking out of the gym or out of the building in this situation. So it's still a close game overall.
Lauren Kadermis, number 2 position in the Baker format, steps up in the 7th frame for Holman Bangor. That's a good adjustment. That's a good ball and a good strike.
The running off the approach is what I've loved the most so far about this Bangor Holman team. Like, the energy is there, and they are running to exude and get the rest of that energy out. That's a good shot there.
Kelly asking for it, gets it.
That's a
2
great
in a
shot.
row for Sheboygan.
There are some you know right off the hands of any player. That's got a shot as well.
Yeah, they're figuring them out now. Even Caitlin Herman coming up a little light there. It was still a pretty good ball position-wise. Just didn't get the reaction on the back end she was hoping for.
Yeah, I think maybe just missed it at the bottom right off her hand a little bit. And sometimes you can leave some of that, what you would think would be a great light mixer results in a 4-5-7. In this case, the 7 goes. It's just the 4-5, and this is not an easy spare. That's why it's a split in bowling, because you can obviously miss it a couple of ways. You can make it a couple of ways as well.
Absolutely.
This is Girls Division I, folks, if you are just joining us. Emil Williams Jr., Jesse Nelson.
And that's Melanie Hilbert, who earlier today took 4th place in the girls singles state championships, $200 scholarship courtesy of the Wisconsin State USBC. And our friend Phil Laporte,
Big thanks to Phil.
longtime bowling icon in the state of Wisconsin.
Shout out to Phil. I hope to get to know him a little bit personally so I can, you know, maybe give him a nickname. Because Phil Laporte is just like one of those names where you know that person's important.
Oh, yeah.
That's an important individual. And he is important in the lives of these young athletes by providing and being very generous with a scholarship fund.
Melanie Hilbert steps up again after the open frame in the 8th for Holman Bangor, and suddenly with 3 in a row, Sheboygan's in a pretty good position with their anchor bowler, one of the best individual bowlers in the state, trying to lead the team here. Good ball, 2nd arrow position, and that was right where she wanted it. You can see with the release, Emil, how they feel confident with the delivery, and Melanie has found a sweet spot on that left lane.
When you have a player like Melanie to anchor your team, you're never out of it. And so it gives the team overall that confidence as to where if we can just get it to Melanie to close it out for us, if we can just get it there, if we just do our part and she will finish it out like a closer in baseball.
Exactly.
My guy Chris Pulliam is in the chat talking about baseball references. He loves when I drop that in. But that's what the anchor position in Baker is all about.
You're saying closer. I'm saying this is a chance to be a home run finish to this game for
No doubt about it. I mean,
Sheboygan and Melanie Hilbert.
especially considering how they started.
Yeah. This could have gone very poorly with 4 opens for a team that averages 74% fill on the season. But if they can close with 5 in a row here, even a solid pin count for Melanie. That's a good ball again, where she wants it. Yeah, dialed in. 5 in a row, 189. How'd they get that after that start?
They've got Melanie Hilbert. That's how they did it.
So Anna Callan trying to go toe-to-toe now with Melanie. And she had
He struck in the 5th frame. the rest of the team seemed to exude this calm. Like they had the big exhale, the deep breath, the exhale. And minus the single pin miss, they had what, 6 out of 7? Is that right?
Yep. And
6 out of the last 7?
exactly. Big spare and a Callan in the 10th frame, by the way, for Holman Bangor, because now they're going to be trailing heading into the second game, but you got to get that spare and put more pins. Free pins on the board. You can't afford an open in the 10th frame in this 2-game total pin count format.
And for Holman Bangor, I think it's they shouldn't be obviously not content necessarily, but they shouldn't think and look at what Sheboygan has done and worry about anything. They've been good throughout this entire game. The energy levels have come obviously from Sheboygan because they've been able to string together strikes, but they haven't thrown.
They are on paper, and I got to be honest with you, Emil, I thought they were pretty evenly matched throughout that game. We saw the mistakes that Sheboygan made, but they overcome it with a 5-in-a-row strike count to close out the game. And Holman Bangor fairly consistently putting together a lot of spares to get to their 165. They got to find a strike line as they switch lanes over to the left side now here in game number 2.
Yeah, it's, again, from the coaching staff, it's, peeking in and seeing what Melanie Hilbert was doing specifically on lane 8 that could benefit Holman Bangor in this situation. Is I think they've got a few players that are playing the lane similarly to Melanie, so I think that could be a bit of an advantage for them after watching Melanie bowl on this particular lane.
Here you go, the cheers again as the teams meet, talk about adjustments, talk about their mental states as they head into the final 10 frames of the season. Sheboygan, 189-165 on top of Holman Bangor, with 1 game left in the Division I Girls Team State Championship. Molly Bachman kicks it off for Holman Bangor, a little far right. That's a makeable spare, and thankfully in the first frame it doesn't matter, but
very choppable though.
Definitely.
So you got to watch out for that. But Jesse, if I'm in this right now, if I'm Gabby Voskell and I watched what Holman Bangor just left, my first thought is throw the best shot I can, and then if I strike, this is just me personally, I would kind of run it out, throw a little swag out there, and let them know, hey, we're coming to win this.
Let's see what Gabby's got here. That was a good ball. Just didn't quite carry it over to the left side, so she'll have to go across the lane to pick up her spare. A lot of pins on the left side here in frame number 1. I was worried.
That could have gone either way. I was hoping it was going to pick up and get into a roll sooner so it could hook and then kind of clip the head pin on its way to the left. But then I was like, well, maybe it'll stay straight and kind of chop them all in that way. But spare's a spare.
Spare's a spare. I was worried, but I don't think I was the only one in the building worried about it either. Just ask the Holman Bangor fans. Hey, Sheboygan with a nice spare too, and we're even through 1. One note I wanted to mention too, so you see all the bowlers wearing masks. They are not obligated to keep them on while on the approach. On the approach, tournament rules are that they can remove the masks if desired. They got to put them on when they come back by the rest of the team though. Emil and I are wearing masks back here. Coaches remaining wearing masks. All the spectators in attendance wearing masks. And I think for the most part, we've seen the bowlers keep them on while they're on the approach. It's just something you're so used to nowadays. But just wanted to make the note of that in case you do see any of them come off at any point, that it is okay. Tournament rules specify they can remove them when on the approach.
Good information. We had someone mention that or ask about it in the chat as well.
Two-handed Juliana Bergman over on the right side for Sheboygan. If she could put a strike in here, try to create some separation, that would go a long way. Oh no, that's not how you want it. First gutter ball of the game.
Yeah, one in the channel.
The match, I should say.
Yep, and then of course the ability to shake that off. You lose count, but yeah, I think you could just tell that the coaching staff has a lot of belief in Juliana, and she's just got to shake it off, get back to her pre-shot routine, and get back to business.
And if I'm Lauren Kadermis, pressure intensifies a little for this spare. Went the hard way, but got it. Back-to-back marks for Holman Bangor. And if Juliana doesn't get all 10 pins here, Holman Bangor is right back in it, trailing by 24 entering game 2. Let's see what Juliana puts together. Looks like a good shot. Oh, yeah. Wow. Could be a championship saver.
That very well could be, Jesse, and that's exactly what you want, right? You have the bad break, you threw it in the channel. All right, that frame or that part of your shot is over. Now you got a spare to go out and attack, and she did just that.
And a really tough break for Caitlin Herman on the left side for Holman Bangor. That was a good ball that left a ringing 10-pin. Shades of our singles competition earlier with all those 10 pins that were glued in the
10
corners.
pins you were talking about.
Can't stand those things.
Can Lindsay Pudwill continue the momentum here?
Good release. Came a little high, though. Sheboygan having some tough times over on this right lane, making the lane adjustment as the teams switch after game one. Holman Bangor, consistent. Spares don't win you games, but they can lose them for you. Got to make the spares. Got to find a strike ball here in the final 7 frames, though. Got to string a couple together to overcome that 24-pin deficit.
You know, if Holman Bangor can think about one thing is they have been, for the majority of their first game and a couple frames here, been pretty clean. They've had a few splits, and it's been Sheboygan who has had the majority of the opens. If they can catch a double or triple, speaking of Bangor Holman, they're going to be in the match and certainly at a chance to win it at the end.
It's a tough spare for Lindsay coming across the lane. Oh, again, they're playing on thin ice here, both teams. Hard way, knock them all down, and it's a 3rd mark. Both teams clean through 3 in game 2. Haley Jones, a lot of speed on that one. How about coming crossover? Nope, 8 count. For where that ended up, though, they'll take the 8 count, I think, and go get a chance to make this conventional spare.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And as we watch Kelly Whipple set up shop here, and this Sheboygan crowd ready to explode on their first strike. Not a strike yet from either team. Can they change here?
Second arrow, man.
Man.
How did that 7 stay?
Come on, come on, come on.
It thought about it. And wiggle, 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 no. Spares, crucial.
And again, Bangor Holman just knocking down the pins that have been presented in front of them, right? All right, 6-10. Okay, I got to go out and I got to make it. It's a big spare on the 7th pin too.
Both teams clean through 4. That gutter ball proven to be the difference so far. Holman Bangor able to make up 9 of the 24 that they need in this game after losing game 1, 189-165. But it's really going to come down to they need a strike, or 2 or 3, in order to make up the deficit. Let's see if Anna Callan, the anchor bowler, can get it going. Looks good. It's good.
Wow.
There it is.
That was an excellent shot. A lot of power, ball speed, and when you get that combination just right, it could be a lot of strikes, and that was a really great shot there from Anna.
Now one of the great individual bowlers in the state, Melanie Hilbert. Looking to match Anna Callan's strike.
And you'd have to expect her to do just that, Jesse, at this point.
Was perfect in game 1 and leaves a ringing 10. All right, pressure spot, and this is an opportunity for Holman Bangor. We got a game. Molly Bachman, second arrow, looks good, right into pocket, and another ringing 10. I'll keep my comments to myself about the 10 pins anymore. Oh, I need to feed a fed horse.
Well, I mean, sometimes in this sport, there's one common pin every now and then, and it's not your favorite one. Again, we haven't seen any 8-pins, so it's a win for me so far. Like, I haven't seen one 8-pin today.
But I'll tell you what, Emil, these 10 pins are going to be what I think is the difference in the match. Someone may not make one, and it could be the difference. Oh, Melanie cut it close, but she just ticked it enough to get it to go over into the gutter to complete the spare. Clean through 5. Can Holman Bangor stay clean through 6? Coming across, it's tight, it's off a little bit. That is a tough spare. First empty frame for either team in this match, I should say in this game. belongs to Holman Bangor in the 6th.
Holman Bangor, and I apologize, dude. Thanks, Christy, by the way. Got to make sure I don't say the ER.
Yeah.
It's OR on that.
Yeah. I learned that one doing a state football game a few years ago. Bangor.
Bangor is not out of it by any stretch. They do now find themselves kind of in the back end of the game where they are going to need some strikes.
Abby Voskuhl. Oh, that's a generous 9 count coming off of that spare. Every pin matters, especially in that situation. A fortuitous break for Sheboygan. Holman Bangor still in an opportunity here. If they can get a couple of strikes, they've made up enough pins through the first 5 frames, 6 frames even, that they've got a chance, but it's going to take strikes down the stretch here.
Yeah, and the way, sometimes the bowling math can get us, but Sheboygan, just this game right now with a 1-pin advantage.
They can actually take the lead, yeah. They convert the spare. Oh, that's a good strike. Good ball.
What a shot.
Keeps them alive for a championship.
You're talking about much needed. This is where you got to dig deep. Hold on, ball. Good spare. This is where you dig deep, Jesse. You need your best shot from every single player on the team if you're Bangor Holman. And the same thing really on the other side with Sheboygan, but Bangor is trailing, obviously, as we know.
A little outside, coming back strong. It's a double!
You just start counting them down. Okay, you get one. It's like Oprah. You get one. And then you get one. And then you get one. And everyone throws their best shot that they possibly can. And we'll see if the magic can happen here.
Everybody gets a strike. Juliana Bergman, 7th frame for Sheboygan. Seeing what they're up against, a couple frames behind. Looks like a good line, comes back and delivers. It took her 4 different shots, but she finally found it.
Listen, man, on her final shot of the match, she gave you her best, and that's all you can ask for.
And that's Juliana coming back from throwing a gutter ball on her first ball in frame number 2.
In the same game.
To come back and deliver what could be the most pivotal throw of the entire match, but Holman Bangor, 3 in a row.
Can someone cue Oprah? I keep telling you, you get a strike.
You
get a strike. You get a strike. And I really mean that, Jesse. And I've been in situations like this where your team captain, your coach comes to you and says, hey, listen, we've got a chance. All we need is the best shot, one good shot, your best shot, and we've got a chance.
Lindsay Pudwill, 8th frame. Sheboygan came into this game with a 24-pin lead in the championship match. Outside, comes back late, and knocks the ball down.
Wow.
How?
How did that go down?
Lindsay Pudwill doubles it up for Sheboygan. Oh, man.
And unfortunately for Bangor Holman, Sheboygan has gotten the word too. The team captain, the coaching staff, the teammates have all rallied and said the same thing. Hey, all we need is good shots from each of us, because we already have the advantage coming into this game. We know that Bangor Holman is chasing us, and all we have to do is match.
It may come down to the anchor bowler's performance, and it's Anna Callan. Good ball over the first arrow, yeah. Might have been 7th board, just tucked inside of that first arrow, but she has found a line.
Wow, she throws it amazing.
Yes, that's a fantastic ball.
I hope she bowls collegiately. I look forward to seeing her at the next level. Oh, that's it.
Stop it.
That could be it right there.
Sometimes it's just your day to win a championship.
That could be it.
Oh, wow.
Kelly Whipple, indeed. Stonehenge, by the way. Those asking in the chat, 40 feet, 23.75 milliliters of oil. Similar distances in our pattern today. Singles was the middle of the road. Distance there was 45. This one is 40, but similar volumes. I tell you what, Anna Callan, she definitely has to strike here to have any chance.
That's the line. Little high. Oh, it's a 9 count. Gosh, this was great bowling down the stretch. Unbelievable, both teams. Look at all the strikes in the back end of the second game. Pressure on the line, state championship caliber bowling. 2 fantastic Division I teams squaring off here in the championship match. Holman, Bangor, and Sheboygan. Incredible.
Just needs a good count here. Keep it on the lane. They just needed 188.
Melanie
Sheboygan,
Hilbert.
that's going to do it, I think.
9 count. Let's see how the math all checks out here.
Just need a good count. Keep it on the lane. And, man, if you're Bangor Holman, I don't think you could ask anything more than your team the last few frames, knowing that you had to strike to have a chance at winning, and then to counter that being Sheboygan and saying, okay, we understand the situation. We've got to essentially just match them and keep things clean. Not only did they keep it clean, they put a three-bagger on the board, which helped seal the victory.
Unbelievable performances for both teams. Just remarkable. One of the reasons I love this tournament and this day every year.
And I just got good information. Thank you, Yvonne, and everyone else in the chat. Anna Callan just signed with Nebraska recently.
All right.
And well, I tell you, Coach Klempa and Coach Pluhowski are getting a excellent player. I've only seen her for a few shots today, but her power speed combination and the ability to keep it online through the front part of the lane as well. The only thing I didn't get a chance to see her do is go left to right, but I look forward to seeing her at the next level.
A 2-12 in game 2 for Holman Bangor. And if you would have told me after that first game, I would have thought it'd been enough. Melanie Hilbert sealing the deal. And a state title for the Sheboygan Co-op program.
Congratulations to Sheboygan. You know, Jesse, that adversity we talked about in the first game of this 2-game match where it looked bleak, right? Early strike, 3 consecutive opens, a couple of splits, like you can start to get unsure about yourself and why you're in this position. But Melanie Hilbert struck in that 5th frame of game 1, and I really think that set the tone for the rest of this match. And Sheboygan is going to come away victorious.
It had everything in this 2-game set, Emil. We had some trouble, some tribulations early on, and then we saw the adjustments. We saw great bowling, strike for strike down the stretch. Excellent championship match. I shouldn't have to worry about making that.
That's at
Melody's
the
day
right time.
is over.
That came at the right time.
And Sheboygan just won a state title. 201. A 13-pin win, 390 to 377. Congratulations. Sheboygan South, Sheboygan North, Sheboygan Falls, Oostburg, Division I girls team champions in 2021. The Wisconsin High School Bowling Club State Championships. Unbelievable bowling.
That match had everything you would want, certainly.
And we're not done. We still got the boys Division II and Division I still to come. We do have trophies to award here, Emil, momentarily. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my headset off. And I'm going to get ready with the other microphone for the PA here for the rest of the fans to celebrate in the 2nd place and 1st place finishes for each of these teams. Awesome bowling.
I got you.
Let's hear it again for MG. Ladies and gentlemen, the photographer.
Way to take them pictures!
And your 2021 Wisconsin High School Bowling Club Division II Girls State Champion, Peshtigo. Again for Peshtigo. And what a match it was in Division I. Let's hear it for the state runners-up, Pullman Bangor. One more time for Holman Bangor. And your 2021 Wisconsin High School Bowling Club Division I Girls Team State Champion, Sheboygan South.
Way to go, girls! That's it!
Let's hear it again for the state champs from Sheboygan.
Go, Lakeshore Lanes! Woo!
Fans, let's give another round of applause for all of our volunteers here from the Bowling Centers Association of Wisconsin. for everything they're putting on for us here this week. Let's introduce our teams. The number 2 seed, Elkhart Lake Glenbeulah. And they'll be taking on the number 1 seed, Clinton. be turned on momentarily for 10 minutes of practice. 2-game total pin count is our format here for today's championship match, which can be found on BowlStreamTV.com and on the BowlStream TV YouTube page, BowlStreamTV.com.
Well, I always enjoy an internet outage. That's what you do here when you're a live streaming fanatic like myself.
You were talking to me earlier about the jinx you were putting it on with saying a spare was going to be made. I think the jinx was when you went to the break there and you said, "Oh, pending an internet issue of any
You're right,
kind, we'll
actually.
be all right."
You're right. Well, what led me to it was I had a couple of people in the chat start to see or experience a little freezing, and so I just knew what you just know, Jesse, when you've been doing
just
this.
know.
Yeah. You just know. I do appreciate, obviously, Matt, Ryan Orvis, and everyone here at the Ashwaubenon, resetting the modems and doing what they need to do.
They've been fantastic
to help us get back live, so we appreciate them. I first met Matt back in 2017 when the PWBA Players Championship was hosted in this very building, and he's been one of my favorite people, and this facility has been one of my favorites since then. So very happy to kind of kickstart a new journey for me and be a part of the Wisconsin State High School Bowling Championships right in this very building. We miss your introductions, my friend, but if you wouldn't mind to go through that yet again for those who may have missed that.
Absolutely. My pleasure, Emil. So we are getting set for the Division II Boys Co-Ed Team State Championships. Here are final couple of championship matches here on Championship Sunday at the Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley. So our matchup today here in Division II, we have the number 1 seed, the Clinton Cougars, champions of District 3B. They come from the greater Janesville area in the southern central part of the state. The Clinton Cougars, pretty good team, 7-2 overall record on the year. Again, champions of District 3B. On average per game this season, they averaged a 195 with a qualifying average of 193 through their 15 games yesterday. So a high game of 224. Clinton really clicking very well yesterday at the Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley as they end up with a 195 season average, 193 qualifying average. A very good team looking for a Division II Boys State Championship. And they will be taking on the number 2 seed, Elkhart Lake Glenbeulah. The Resorters, 3rd place in 2020's Division II Boys Team Tournament. Toma took first last year. Iola Scandinavia took second. So Elkhart Lake Glenbeulah, a team that was here last year, trying to get over the hump and get a state championship here this time around. Elkhart Lake Glenbeulah competed last night in the stepladder semifinals. They were the number 2 seed, so all they had to do was bowl 1 game last night. They took on Merrill, and Merrill threw a 300 game last night, if I remember correctly. Oh, I'm sorry, that was Marinette. So Merrill did not throw the 300. Merrill beat Marinette, who threw the 300 game. So let me get that information correct. But they beat Merrill then And Elkhart Lake Glenbeulah needed a comeback in their semifinal match last night. They were down 202-178 after one game, but ended up getting a 191-126 win over Merrill in that semifinal, advancing them here to Sunday's championship match in Division II, the boys co-ed state championships. Number 1 seed Clinton, number 2 seed Elkhart Lake Glenbeulah. This is going to be a fun one this afternoon. Emil Williams Jr.
Indeed it is, and I watched that. Shout out to Marinette, by the way, although they did not advance to the finals, of course, but they did pop 300.
Unbelievable. And to do it on that level and that stage, I mean, that is so amazing they were able to pull that off last night. A 300 game, and it was the first game of the semi after you do 15, and then you come all the way through. Just fantastic. Absolutely incredible performance for Marinette last night with a 300 game, but they end up getting past Antigo, but then, again, Merrill took care of business against Marinette. Elkhart Lake Glenbeulah took care of business against Merrill, and that's how the Resorters end up here today in our Division II championship match. A team, when anytime you finish close to winning it a year before but don't quite get over the hump, I like the experience that Elkhart Lake Glenbeulah brings to the table here today, because they did bowl on Championship Sunday a year ago. In that 3 spot, they made it to the semifinals, which last year were on Sunday. This year they were on Saturday night. They were there. They just didn't quite get it, but maybe a lot of that experience coming back for some of these veteran bowlers on this squad. They can use that to their advantage to try and take down Clinton here this afternoon.
Yeah, and you said it from an experience perspective, but overall still a relatively young team, but sometimes you can't overestimate someone's youth per their experience or lack thereof. When I see 3 freshmen, a couple sophomores, but 3 juniors, and I expect those individuals to play key roles, certainly, if Elkhart Lake is to be victorious here today.
And again, it's a talented group, a talented program. Last year finished 3rd at state, so what's to say that even though they're young, they can't get it done here today against Clinton? I mean, this Clinton squad is really, really good. You look at the numbers here, team-wise on the season. Clinton, I mentioned, averages 195 a game. Elkhart Lake Glenbeulah averages 172. So that's a 23-pin difference if you look at just the overall season totals. Both of these teams bowled 9 matches throughout the course of the year, both finishing with 7-2 records, champions of their respective districts. Fill percentage looks like a key here today, Emil. 80% fill for a team for Clinton, only 69% for Elkhart Lake Glenbeulah. Let's see if they can get hot at the right time and convert a few of those extra marks that they may not otherwise, because strike percentage 46 to 38, it's kind of in the same ballpark when it's in that range, but that fill percentage, that's a significant difference. That's a whole extra mark that, when every pin matters in a 2-game pin total for a state title, could be the difference.
Yeah, we've hit on that fill percentage stat a lot today, but I mean, that's really what it boils down to, especially in this format. It's a quick pace, obviously. It's a very, very quick sprint. This is like 60 meters. I won't even call it 100 meters. This is like 60, maybe a few hurdles along the way for each team as well, but you can fill the frames. Whoever can fill the most frames, really, it can get down to as simple as that, is going to be the winner. I do like for Clinton, and you ran off a few of their stats and, of course, intangibles. Which first in conference, they've had 2 state qualifiers on the single side, gaining some extra experience in that regard. 2 state appearances as a team, and then Karina Jones finished 3rd in singles at this event last season.
Yeah, she was fantastic a year ago. I was excited to see that she was a part of this team competing for a state title today. She is one of the fantastic bowlers in Wisconsin high school scene right now. So to see Karina Jones part of this team, chance to win a state title here this afternoon at the Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley. Man, this Clinton squad is going to be hard to beat. But if anyone can do it, it's a team that has the experience from a year ago in Elkhart Lake Glenbeulah.
Yeah, this should be good. I like what we've already talked about. I'm looking at practice a little bit, and again, back on fresh, Stonehenge the pattern. They redressed the lanes, and I like what I'm seeing so far, kind of from both teams. And I think after watching a few matches, I think some of the teams have gotten a chance to watch what's been going on. I think they're ready. They're prepared. Don't underestimate the small level of nerves that may happen in the first couple of frames. But I would expect to see after those first couple, people to get into a rhythm, settle in, really settle down, and get down to business.
Why don't we go ahead and meet our teams while we got
Let's
a minute left to practice here. So let's first meet the Clinton Cougars, the #1 seed, coached by Bruce Van Vliet and Rhonda Sundown. The bowlers for the Clinton Cougars: Karina Jones, Dayton Vanderpaul, Brandon Love, Logan Cook, Connor Graciolny, and Tyler Schendel. And those are the Clinton Cougars, the #1 seed, entering this Division II championship match. For the Elkhart Lake Glen Beulah Resorters, they are coached by Dan Schmidt and Cody Schmidt. And the Resorters are Colin Zimmerman, Marcus Priege, Trevor Awe, Keen O'Neill, Caleb McClurg, Parker Annis, Levi Kessler, and Joseph Schuler. Those are your Elkhart Lake Glen Beulah Resorters, the #2 seed in the Division II Boys Co-Ed Team Championship match.
And let me just say two things before we begin here. One, Jesse, I want to thank, I believe it to be Coach Van Fleet, from Clinton, who not only wrote down the roster but included pronunciations of last names to go along with that.
Oh, excellent. I probably should have looked at that before rattling off the team names.
As we both know, that is you cannot stress enough the importance of that, and thank you, Coach Van Fleet, because you are now forever in my book as one of the cool individuals in the world. And then finally, the Resorters, one of the best names from a mascot I've ever heard in my life. That is fantastic.
Hey, we had the paper makers earlier from Kimberly.
That is amazing, and now I can't root for anybody, but now that's going to stick with me for a very long time.
If you think that matchup is fun, just wait until we get to the Division I title match coming up, Mukwonago and Menominee Falls. They're both the Indians. We're not going to be able to refer to them as that. It's going to have to be Mukwonago and Menominee Falls because it's going to get confusing if we say the nickname. So let's go with Resorters as much as we want for Elkhart Lake Glen Beulah. Hey, we're ready to go, Emil.
I'm down, my man.
Division II.
Braden Love.
State championship match is underway.
It's not a bad opening shot there for Braden. Again,
No, it's makeable spare.
You're just trying to, again, get the, not the rust off, but there's some level of nerves, especially when you're lead off because you're first, everyone's watching you, etc.
I often bowled first in our team, and I think that was partly due because I just didn't have the nerves that maybe some of the other guys did. I wasn't our best bowler by any means, but I was able to confidently throw at least a spare to get you going. And I felt that's what sets up teams well for success here in the early stages. Unfortunately for Clinton here in frame #1, it is an open frame to begin this Division II state championship match. First of 2 games total pin count, and an open frame over on the right lane for Elkhart Lake Glen Beulah as well. So no harm, no foul. Each team opens. It's just a 2-pin difference as we're 1 frame in. That's a tough break for Clinton. That's going to be back-to-back opens to start this championship match. If I'm Elkhart Lake Glen Beulah, I'm seizing this opportunity here. And that's exactly what they just did. And look at the emotion. Look at the energy, Emil. Oh.
Hey, listen, they know what time it is. Again, this might be the shortest match they've ever bowled to try to win a state championship.
Levi Kessler. I loved it. It's 2 pins for Clinton. That was necessary. Remember, every pin matters. 2-game total pin count. So they've at least got 9 in each of the first 2 frames. That's not the worst case scenario for Clinton.
That can't be understated.
How about Keen O'Neill? It's a 9er. Coming off the strike, chance to spare that up. Pretty makeable. Logan Cook hammers it home. First mark of the game as a strike for Clinton in frame 3. O'Neill pushed it a little too far right, and it didn't hang on. So that's 2 opens apiece in each of the first 3 frames in this D2 state championship match. Connor Graciolny asking for it to go oppo. He'll take 8, makeable spare for how that shot looked off the hand. Parker Annis, 4th position bowler for Elkhart Lake Glen Beulah, knocks it down and a cheer. Gosh, the emotion, the high you get when you roll a strike in the championship match, unparalleled.
Listen, it's something that in a way that is indescribable, because not only what it means to you as the player, as the bowler, but then the looks on your teammates when you come back and they're all gathering around you and giving you that love that you need.
It's phenomenal. Schuler, the anchor bowler for Elkhart Lake Glenbeulah. Not his finest, but he should be able to pick up that spare. There's 2 pins on the right side. How about Karina Jones, the anchor bowler for Clinton?
Nice
That's
shot.
why she's one of the greats.
That is excellent shot, and you kind of broke down her career essentially over the course of several years and success here at this event, and showing you right then and there. And again, where is she positioned in the lineup?
Anchor bowler. Got to trust your star in that anchor position when you get to this stage. And I wouldn't even bet, even if Karina didn't have the best practice session, you throw her at anchor, because you got to go with the person you trust the most.
Yeah, sometimes it's not about the look. You trust the player to get lined up during the game.
Lifetime Achievement Award, one may say. Karina Jones has certainly earned that, competing at this state level in a number of ways, including in the individual competitions. Flip the line up here to the 6th frame for Elkhart Lake Glenbeulah, and having a tough time finding a line. It's tough. It's a difficult oil pattern. We've seen some of the great teams in the state struggling with it throughout the course of the day.
Yes, Stonehenge, 40 feet, 23 milliliters of oil. Again, mentioned earlier, similar distance, or similar volumes, I should say, between our singles pattern and our team pattern. This morning we bowled on middle of the road, but it was much longer, 5 feet longer, 45 this morning.
And a tough throw here for Elkhart Lake Glenbeulah. It's an open frame in the 6th, just a 64 total. And, oh, this one rode the gutter, but it stays on the lane and results in a 7 count coming out of the spare.
Well, we mentioned exhaling earlier today, and that was a definite exhale, because you don't lose count by going in the channel, and you leave something that you can make.
Dayton Vanderpal able to just keep it on enough to extend the Clinton lead in the midway point of this first of 2 games in this Division II championship match. And this looks like it's going to be a 3rd straight open for Elkhart Lake Glenbeulah over on the right lane. Got to get one. Well, and they just got a break over on the other lane. Missing everything right in the middle there.
Obviously, if there's good news for Clinton, it is that their opponent has struggled so far in Elkhart Lake Glenbeulah.
So now we're even through 7 frames. Both teams are complete here, and it is a 29-point advantage for Clinton. That's what will happen when you put those marks on the board, put a strike in between them. We've talked about it all day, Emil. Spares don't win you a match, but they will lose it for you if you can't convert them.
We've already seen a little bit of that, but that looks like it could be a good shot.
Keen O'Neill, that was a great ball, and I understand the frustration.
Yeah, that's one when your team's struggling and you feel like you threw it good and you don't get the carry. That one hurts, yes, definitely.
And now more hurt over on the left lane for Clinton, unable to convert a spare over in the right corner. Back-to-back opens for the Cougars. If Keen O'Neill picks up this spare for Elkhart Lake Glenbeulah, we're going to have a pretty tight game.
Again, 2 games, total pinfall. Keep that in mind.
Coming across. I thought off the hand. It might have been a little slow, and that was the case. Cut too early. 4 straight open frames for the Resorters. Can the Cougars capitalize? No, they can't.
Wow.
Oof.
Yeah, that's a fair way to say that right now.
Game 2 will be better, I'm sure.
Again, it's a combination of nerves. It's everything that the crowd's into it. You know, you're just trying to get back to the basics, basically, and that's the best shot of the match, I think, by either, and except for Karina. I would say that is the second best shot of the match between the 2 teams.
Field goal is good on the left lane. Missed them both.
Clinton had a clear advantage just about 2 frames ago, and now they find themselves in a pretty even match.
It's pretty
here.
tight. Schuler couldn't quite find the line there. He got lucky to get that 8. I thought he was going to look at a split potential. Let's see what Karina Jones got on 10. Can she hold it down? for the Cougars. Heck yeah. This is a big spare for Joseph Schuler over on the right lane. Especially with Karina's strike. Got to make it. It's a good shot.
And a must-have.
That is not easy with the style that he delivers. He's able to knock them both over, and you get some extra pins because of it to keep you in the match.
And you can see two-handed powerful righty. And use this spare, or excuse me, hooked at that, I should say.
Karina's playing that line that we saw teams playing earlier. Over about that 7th, 8th board, right over that second arrow is really where I think she's going with it. Maybe just a little to the right of it, but with where she's lining up, she's able to fire it, gets a nice smooth curve. It takes it right down the lane into the pocket. We've seen that work so well for many bowlers throughout the course of the day today. Now it's going to come down to Karina making the adjustments as the lanes break down a little bit here in game 2, which we've seen other teams struggle with. So we'll see how that all plays out. 118 for Elkhart Lake Glen Beulah in game 1. And Karina knocks them all down. A 30-pin lead, I should say, for the Clinton Cougars.
I'm not going to lie, I wasn't going to stop you. It brought me back to basketball season, of course.
Yeah, we're in basketball mode.
And that's where you were yesterday.
148-118. Clinton leads Elkhart Lake Glen Beulah with 10 frames to go in the Division II Boys Co-ed Team State Championship match. Well, I don't know, Emil. I mean, Karina's got it figured out, but the rest of the Clinton team seemed to struggle in that first game.
They're in a tough situation right now, and I think in this situation, sometimes switching lanes can help you because it's almost like a fresh start. In a sense, you know, it's difficult obviously because you got to get yourself lined up again. But, you know, I think because of some of the situations that they found themselves in, you know, throwing some good shots and then some not so good shots, missing a few spares, this is their chance to regroup. Both teams right now huddling, and I'm sure talking about those very same things. Only a 30-pin match, and we know in this sport, 30 pins is not a lot.
Emil, both teams just threw their worst game at the state tournament. Prior to this, Clinton's worst game was 168, and Elkhart Lake Glen Beulah's worst game was 148.
I think you don't attribute that to anything more than two teams wanting to win a state title as badly as they do. And sometimes you get a little tense. That arm swing is not as free as it should be.
Trevor Awe in the first position for Elkhart Lake Glen Beulah, and that's a solid 9 count to get the Resorters going in game 2. Got to convert the spare, though. It's going to be the important ball. And it will set the pace early. This match could be lost in the first 4 or 5 frames if the Resorters don't hit their marks, maybe even put a strike or two together. How about Clinton? It looked like a pretty good ball. I was a bit surprised with how that result ultimately played out.
Well, you saw.
It's a good spare.
I believe that
Trevor Awe.
Yeah, Trevor. Listen, he understands the moment, right? Hey, we didn't bowl as good as we could have in the first game. Every spare is just as important as every strike at this moment. That's a good start for our team.
Oh, and a tough break for Brandon Love. Looked good going across the lane, but he just knocks the 7, couldn't get the 4. And it's an open frame for Clinton to start game 2. And coming off a spare, Elkhart Lake Glen Beulah capitalizes with a big-time strike. They're back in it.
Really good shot there. That was one of the best shots of the match, certainly.
Levi Kessler. He's been one of the best bowlers so far today for Elkhart Lake Glen Beulah. Single pin, 10 pin for Clinton. How about Keen O'Neill? Third spot for ELG. It's a good 8 count, right in the pocket, not a bad ball. Maybe just move a board over or so. It should be a good ball when he comes back out next time. Big spare, hangs on, and a single pin spare is crucial. the Clinton Cougars.
Already for ELG, I mean, so far so good. You give the spare, and that one looks pretty good. And so
O'Neal knocks it.
This is the best part. This is the best start you could ask for, I think, for ELG, especially after shooting 118 to start. And now they put some early pressure on Clinton because they already have an open.
Here comes Logan Cook, third position for Clinton, and a much-needed strike, and he's fired up about it. Yeah, that's a big one for Clinton.
And he should be. Logan actually came up to me last night while I was setting up and just wanted to know where his parents and relatives, really his relatives, so his parents could tell him where to watch. And had a nice conversation. And he told me they were the #1 seed. I said, well, I'll see you tomorrow.
What's up, extended Cook family? How you doing? And meanwhile, here comes Elkhart Lakeland Beulah. Oh, wait a minute. Here comes Clinton, too. Oh.
Here we go.
Game 2. This has been where the fun happens.
Here we go. And just like the girls' Division I match, right? When one team seems like they're on a good start and going to continue that momentum, the opponent says not so fast. Best shot of the match right there.
The entire fan section cheering on Elkhart Lakeland Beulah is standing in the bleachers behind us on the left side. The Clinton fans are a little more composed in the bleachers, but they're fired up too as Karina Jones makes it 3 in a row for the Cougars. Strike for strike. Flip the order again here as you get back to the 6th frame. Trevor, just needed to go a little more right with it, I think.
And not bad. Again, leave something makeable. The question is, can Clinton capitalize? They can.
Walk it right down straight street.
Here we go.
Love that line. That's the one I used to throw. Straight down that 7th board, maybe the first arrow.
I'm about to get you back on the lanes. Maybe we can come out of retirement together.
I'm in.
That'll be good content for Bowlstream TV.
I've got a challenge that was posed on Wildy and Touch, the show that I produce weekdays 9 to noon on ESPN Wisconsin, that I couldn't come cold after 2 years and bowl a 175.
Oh, no, you could do that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, once a bowler,
that.
always a bowler.
On.
Like, I can come in cold, get a couple of warm-ups, and throw a 175. I like to think so. So, might have a $100 charity donation on that one before we know it. Hey, look at this. Elkhart Lakeland Beulah not going quietly.
How about the scholarship donation? Again, shout out to everyone here who has been very generous, of course, with the scholarship opportunities.
I love the spirit, the celebration there from Clinton as that ball was delivered by Vanderpaul. Dayton Vanderpaul. He turns around, gives a little thumbs up, little guns. Yeah, we're good. Love it. Confidence at this stage.
It's really a testament to Clinton, right? Because, again, we see another team withstanding the opponent's really their best shot.
Yes.
And Clinton is standing tough and throwing punches and connecting.
Logan Cook left a split, and Elkhart Lakeland Beulah has a chance. Keen O'Neal needs the spare. Is he going to get it hard way?
Oh,
Chopped
wow.
it. Oh, no.
That's arguably the worst chopping bowl.
Oh, no. So it's a 156 in the 8th frame with an open for Elkhart Lakeland Beulah.
Well, you immediately saw Coach Schmidt, though, for ELG.
Oh, man.
Nearly made that.
He
How about
almost
that?
got it.
How about that? You saw a coach for ELG just talk to his players and say, all right, let's keep the momentum, let's keep the intensity up. Don't let that open frame get the team down.
Elkhart Lakeland Beulah is trailing by 38 with 2 frames to go. Both teams coming off opens. Parker Annis needed a strike to make it interesting, and he got it. Connor Graciolni on the right side for Clinton, trying to win a title.
No.
Knock the ball down, and he just won it for the Cougars.
7-pin goals late, Jesse, and dare I say, jubilation.
Man, even though both teams struggled in game 1, they did not disappoint here down the stretch. And how about that last ball? Big 10th frame strike for Elkhart Lakeland Beulah and Joseph Schuler. Karina Jones trying to go out with a bang in a state championship. That's an 8 count, double wood over on the left side, but again, Clinton should be in just fine shape to come away with a big trophy.
Oh yeah, they are A-okay. That 30-pin difference was more than enough ultimately from game number 1, but just a bit of a late start really is the difference in this one, as ELG just couldn't find anything early, and unfortunately for them, trading open frames early with Clinton, and Clinton had a few more frames that they were able to fill, and that's the difference.
And you love to see marks as everyone's finishing up here. Maybe you bring in a reserve to get one last shot. Looks like Schuler's going to take, nope, they're actually going to have someone else throw a shot here in the state championship match for Elkhart Lake Glen Buell. Looks like they're going to make a move of some kind.
And that moment, or those moments, are always underestimated.
Yeah, Marcus Priggy's going to get a chance here with the last ball. Love to see it. Everybody getting an opportunity on this stage to be. You know, you put in all the work all season. You're part of that team. It's so special, the camaraderie you build. And now you get a chance to register the box score with a made spare.
Young freshman, too, getting a chance to experience the state championship atmosphere.
Karina Jones, exclamation point on a state title. The Clinton Cougars are state champions. Division II boys co-ed team final. First game was tough, but Clinton did just enough. Led by Karina Jones in that 10th frame. That was really the difference. You talk about a 30-point swing. They end up winning by 25. And it was in large part because of their anchor bowler, Karina Jones.
Yeah, and you know what? And Jesse, just in large part due to the reset after game number 1, because both teams went through it, right? Both teams came out and said, all right, we did not bowl our best game. Maybe there's some nerves. We got a little tight. We're switching lanes. We have nothing to lose at this point, right? Because this is the only game we've got until someone's going to win the state title. Let's make it the best we can. And for ELG, just a little bit, just a few frames too late. Congratulations to Clinton.
Both teams get ovations. Again, our award ceremony will follow the Division I championships here. So I'll have a brief pause in the action, and then our other two teams will take to the lanes. Mukwonago and Menominee Falls, two teams from District 1 in the greater Milwaukee area. Two teams that know each other well. Get a chance to play for a state championship.
That is coming up next right here on Bowlstream TV. My name is Emil Williams Jr. Big thanks to everyone involved. Thank you for watching, and also helping us get through our technical difficulties. Thanks to everyone in the building, specifically Matt and Ryan Orvis, helping us get through those difficulties from the internet perspective. Yvonne Bennett, who is not here, of course, but big presence over this entire event and all the work that she has put in and her entire staff.
She's here. She's just not here.
She's here, but she's not here. But she gave a shout out to Roger Dalkin. I'm going to do the same as well. Roger doing a great job.
Big Raj.
Of getting this thing done, and the entire staff here, Dale, the tournament director, everybody involved. Man, and we've got one more match to go, one more champion to crown, Jesse.
Can't wait. These are two teams, when I bowled at Muskego, that these were two of the teams we hated going against. Mukwonago and Menominee Falls.
You should have saw his face, ladies and gentlemen, when he said
fired up to watch this one because, I got no dog in the fight now, so I am excited to see these two teams, Mukwonago and Menominee Falls. Just two spectacular bowling programs across the state. I was surprised that Menominee Falls hadn't been here in so long because they've always been so good. And Mukwonago, this is a team that was runners-up just last year, lost to Sheboygan South in the championship match. So to see them back here, chance to win it in 2021, you know they don't want to finish runners-up again. This is going to be a fun finish to the Wisconsin High School Bowling State Championships.
Yeah, well, you just described that, and obviously the history between the two schools and what they represent overall amongst, obviously, across the state and certainly within this sport. Looking forward to seeing what should be a dynamite match. And I actually got a message from from one of the, I should say, two former alums of McGuanago, the Hibbert brothers, Ralph and, or Matt and Billy, excuse me. I've watched them both bowl exceptionally at the collegiate level, so understood where they come from now.
Can't wait to see it.
All right, we got announcements and introductions forthcoming. So Jesse doing his thing, of course, on the ones and twos. He is going to introduce our two teams, and here we are right now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got one match to go in the Wisconsin High School Bowling Club 2021 State Championships. It is our Division I Boys Co-Ed Team Championships. Let's meet the teams for this afternoon's match. The number 5 seed, Menominee Falls. Menominee Falls will be taking on the number 1 seed, McGuanago. This is a 2-game total pin count Baker format game. Teams will switch lanes after game 1. You can watch today's action or invite your friends and family at home to watch today's action on bowlstreamtv.com and Bowlstream TV on YouTube. It's bowlstreamtv.com. Good luck and high scores. Yep, I got this one right here.
Big thanks to Jesse Nelson. Congratulations, Mary. That's right. Your Clinton Bowlers absolutely won themselves a state championship. And thank you for letting me share a little bit in this Wisconsin high school bowling flavor right here. As someone who bowled both at the high school level and collegiately, it's always fun for me to be back in an atmosphere that is conducive to all the things that we talked about earlier: crowd support, fans, high drama, clutch shots, pressure situations, and good old-fashioned team bowling. And boy, this has been a real treat, and I'm very thankful to be a part of this.
Emil, this has been awesome working with you. This is, again, your first time running the show here at Bowlstream TV, and this has been just great action all day long. We've had dramatic finishes in many of our team championships. A couple of those singles competitions came down to the wire earlier, and now we get to cap it off with two teams from District 1 that see each other fairly frequently in a normal season, and that is McGuanago and Menominee Falls. If you're a fan of bowling, and especially from the southeast part of the state of Wisconsin, this is going to be fun.
Is this for you right here?
This is for you, no doubt. The McGuanago team, the number 1 seed. Again, they were the state runners-up last year, fell to Sheboygan South in the championship match. Champions of the West Division of District 1. District 1 is so big, they've got 4 different divisions. So McGuanago was the champions of the West Division. McWanago comes into this season average 210 per game. 210 McWanago averages. 85% fill, 56% strike. Overall record of 10-2. This is a loaded squad that has had their eyes set on this championship match since they fell in it a year ago. You know, no doubt this is what they want to come away with for a state title.
Well, without a question. I mean, when you get that close and you get another chance, you hear teams talk about it, you hear players talk about it who've been in that runner-up situation. As soon as the last ball was thrown, we were thinking about next season and what we need to do to win and not feel that same feeling again, and now they will have that opportunity to get it done.
And then there's Menominee Falls, champions of the North Division of District 1 with an overall record of 9-3 on the season. They average 200 per game, 83% fill, very similar to McWanago in that sense. 50% of the time they strike. So that's a slight advantage in the strike percentage. 56% for McWanago, 50% for Menominee Falls. That could be one of the pivotal things to keep an eye on as we get into this two-game total pin count format. Now, what I will say about Menominee Falls is they have bowled, and they have bowled a lot here at the Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley. Maybe no one has bowled more so than Brendan Zimdars, the senior, who was earlier in our singles competition. So he bowled his 6 qualifying games. Then he bowled in the singles competition earlier today. Ended up coming in 4th place in that contest. Then, obviously, the team was the 5 seed last night in the step ladder after their 15 games during the day. Then they bowled the 4 matchup, the 3 matchup, and the 2 matchup. And now they're back here today. They have done a lot of bowling at the Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley this weekend. But they've done a lot of good bowling, and that's what matters most to Menominee Falls. Defeating Oak Creek, talk about another District 1 team that was in the mix, another perennial power. Menominee Falls took them out 364-346 in that first semifinal last night. Then they took out Stevens Point 410-330, the number 3 seed. And then the number 2 seed, Kimberly, 396-366. They ran the ladder to get here to the Sunday TV finals on Fullstream TV. Menominee Falls doesn't go that long and not want to come away with a championship, and especially against a team that they're used to seeing. This is going to be electric.
Earlier I asked you about, obviously you have the pulse in high school bowling and in this state, and I asked you about rivalries and varying things like that, and it sounds like this is when I asked that question, this is exactly what I was thinking about. This is what I would want to watch as a fan, certainly, and I get a chance to see that.
There are two teams that are just always so good, and when you think of high school bowling, you may think of Oak Creek, Kenosha Tremper, Sun Prairie, for a while Ashwaubenon I'd say was in that mix, and as time has gone on, you start to really look at it now. Peshtigo, I think, would have something to say. But Menominee Falls and McWanago are two teams that I always think of being someone who bowled in District 1 throughout my high school career. These were teams, when you went to Village Lanes, when you went to Jay's Lanes, like you knew there was a little extra on the line for those matches. So excited to see how these two teams fare here. They travel about 2 hours to get here up in Ashwaubenon from the southeast part of the state, but it's worth the drive if you're going to bring home that championship trophy.
And this is phenomenal, and really, you know, I guess the culmination, obviously, of and what has been a kind of shortened season, and you know, obviously with a pandemic going around, so to even have a chance to compete at a state tournament, I know each and every player and every team that has been here this week has relished that opportunity for, you know, at one point or another. I'm sure this event was in question, whether or not it was even going to be allowed to be able to host this thing. And not only did they host it, again, we talked about the staff and all of the work that they put in, the proper protocols, even going to some non-traditional lanes to ensure that teams like this get a chance to shine and perform on the platform that they deserve. And very happy to be here to watch it.
It's pretty crazy, Emil. I'm pretty sure the last time I was anywhere in public without wearing a mask was at the Wisconsin High School Bowling State Championships a year ago. It was the first weekend in March, as it always is.
Right.
We were over in Wausau, Dales Weston Lanes, and yeah, that was one of the last things. Then, you know, COVID runs rampant, and we all know the rest of that story.
Yep.
So to be back here this year, I am astonished that we are able to have this tournament and that it's been run so successfully. A credit to the Bowling Centers Association of Wisconsin and everybody involved, all the volunteers putting in tons of hours to make this happen. Special thanks to all the people who can't be here that are helping run the show from home and contributing in all kinds of different ways. It's been a pleasure to be here for this experience again, and I can't wait to cap it off with this championship match for the boys co-ed team Division I title.
I want to thank everyone who has tuned in so far throughout the day and made a comment or something in the chat. I appreciate it. Normally, I am paying a lot of attention to the chat so to make sure we don't miss anybody, but I've had a few things to take care of here and there, so I just want to say thank you.
Emil, I appreciate you not reading any of the chat that's been critical of my performance today, so thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I
put me feel good.
Put those on the side and put them in my notepad.
Stack those for later. Yep.
I do want to say, let's see. Actually, Yvonne just talked about this is literally, or the state tournament, I should say, it was literally the last event that the BCAW put on. So it's been state tournament to state tournament from an events perspective at the BCAW.
Yeah, incredible that we're here having this opportunity. And as we saw all weekend, I was a part of the high school basketball state championships across the state in lacrosse and Oshkosh. The fact that they were able to host successful championships and at great venues, it's for the kids. And that's what this is really all about. Great opportunities for these kids to bond with their teammates, to get out and improve their bowling skills, to try and find opportunities to bowl in college and in life as it continues on for all of them. Like, these are the special memories that you'll have. And so to be able to have that on this stage here today, wonderful job by the BCAW and everybody involved here at the Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley. Special thanks to Storm and H5G, our apparel company. All the kids get to buy some customized sweatshirts.
Pretty
to take
cool
home.
gear I saw.
It's pretty awesome.
Here too.
Yeah, great new apparel company here for the high school bowling state championship. Special thanks to Pepsi. I got mine keeping me going on 3 hours sleep. I'm ready to go, Emil.
Listen, when we talked last week, and I got to give Jesse a lot of credit here. Knowing that I was new essentially to the event, he reached out to me and just wanted to check in, get to know me a little bit before we met. And so I appreciate him. I told him that before, and I'll say it again here in public. But he also then told me what his weekend was going to be like before he even made it to the Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley. So big thanks to Jesse for being here and doing excellent work, my man.
I don't think I'm as tired as a lot of these bowlers are, especially Menominee Falls, the amount of games they've had to bowl here over the last couple of days. But I'm going to need a nap. I'm going to need a nap, Emil.
You might. Kennedy Slater asks who won the D2 Coed, and that was Clinton. We just watched that. In fact, I won't tell you to go back and watch it now, even though you could, because we have a DVR function via YouTube.
Nice.
But I would say, watch this, but you can certainly watch the archive of the team event and all of the team matches today on Bowl Stream TV. So again, shout out to Clinton and all of our winners. We'll run down those as well. We'll have the trophy presentation for all of the boys' matches at the conclusion of McWanago and Menominee Falls. And also for those watching internationally, Ian Blake, and I know things have been a little bit difficult in obviously every part of the world. The UK is still experiencing a lack of bowling. Bowling centers are still closed there. And Tom says same thing there in Germany. So appreciate you guys for watching and hanging out with us here on Bowl Stream TV. We hope this final match for the state championship will give you a small glimmer, certainly, of some hope. Shout out to Verity Crawley as well. Speaking of the UK, got her visa to come back to the United States, and she will be bowling at least the first portion of the PWBA Tour Swing.
Awesome.
In the summer. And here we go.
Menominee Falls is in the gray and red jerseys as you see them. And McWanago is in the gold and blue. McWanago will start on the left side of these sets of lanes, while Menominee Falls will be on the right-hand side. Many of you watching, I'm sure, can see that, but just want to make sure we clarify that in case there is any confusion. Teams break their huddles. Tensions are high. Nerves are set. Excitement in the air at the Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley.
Jesse, I got to be honest, because I've never heard anyone probably call bowling and call other sports. And the way that you do it is how I find myself doing it a lot, because I try to mix in other realms of other sports and stuff into it. And this is great. I appreciate it.
Well, it's great to be a part of this event. I've been able to be here 6 years now, and every time it doesn't disappoint. And I'm hoping this championship match doesn't disappoint either. Makeable spares here for both McWanago and Menominee Falls as we kick off the Division I championship match.
Jesse, I think the nerves thing has been common. And I truly believe it. And obviously we've seen it now. Game ones have tended to be on the downside from a score perspective overall in these matches. So I think if the team that can have the best rhythm, and the score may not reflect it, but if they can have the best rhythm, I think they're going to put themselves in the best position to win.
And if you're just joining us, spares are important. I don't know if we've made that message clear throughout the course of our morning into the afternoon, but both teams pick up spares in the first frame of this championship match. And these are two teams that are really good at it. 85% fill for McGuanago, 83% on the season for Menominee Falls. They don't leave many pins out there. And so any pins that are left today could end up being the difference in a silver medal and a gold medal in a state championship. Speaking of which, that would be your announcer's jinx, Emil Williams.
Listen, hey, man, I'm glad somebody else can take the blame this time.
That is a nasty split from McGuanago. Can Falls take advantage? Trying to go the opposite way. Good break on a 9 count. And potentially the first advantage of the day could belong to Menominee Falls.
And it's just one of those things, too, where, again, this is on fresh. So it's getting accustomed to that. You've had some warm-up, then you had a few shots on the pair. But still, once the lights come on, it's just a completely different feeling, as we both know. And with any sport, it's the same thing. But certainly in bowling, that arm swing needs to be as loose as possible. And any sign of muscle or tenseness, it can disrupt everything you want to do.
That's a great job by McGuanago getting one for certain over on the left pair, because you can't afford to not get every pin that you possibly can, especially at this stage of the 2-game total pin count nature here. Once you get into the second game, if you're trailing by 20 or 30, maybe you take a little gamble and shoot it a little further left than you normally would to hope for some good bounce or ricochet to knock the other pin out. But in this case, just take your one, make sure you get it, and set yourself up, and hopefully you can bounce back with your next ball. Playing a little inside. And Emil, we've talked about it all day. The line seems to be out near that second arrow for many of the bowlers that we've seen have success here on Championship Sunday. So McGuanago playing a little inside. That they can play there, but you got to make the adjustment. I think maybe where you're starting, you got to move over a little bit.
And I don't think that was a bad shot overall, but I think, yes, it did not get to where that shot did, by the way. Good shot from Menominee Falls.
Proving me wrong.
For McGuanago in that particular shot. It was around 15, and as you mentioned, from a breakpoint perspective, it never got down lane to get to 8, 9, 10 in that regard. So it could be just a simple angle adjustment and the targeting perspective.
This is a makeable split.
Oh, with ease right
baby
there.
Split is good.
With ease. Well, I know a lot of professionals who hate that spare. Hate it. And he made it look easy. Nice job. Uh-oh.
That one was well off the mark. Missing left, but that's okay. You can make that adjustment. You get a benefit of a 9 count here, so you get that spare. Make your adjustment for next time.
Similar thing right there, too. And I think he just maybe caught it a little bit, tugged it inside, and then we see high flush over here on the left side on lane 8 from McGuanago.
If you're going to play inside, that is how you need to do it. That was perfect.
Well, we know that the miss room or the miss area so far on this pattern seems to be left and not right. If you miss right, we've seen washouts. We've seen players miss the head pin completely and leave 1, 2, 4 sevens and or I should say 1, 2, 4 sevens, 1, 2, 4s, some rough combinations. But if you miss left, you got a chance to at least leave something makeable or carry the strike on the Brooklyn side.
You know what time it is, Emil? It's anchor bowler time.
How many times have we seen the anchor bowlers today come up big?
Like right now? Let's see if Menominee Falls has the response as well. It's 2 in a row for McGuanago. That was big. Does Falls have the retaliation from their anchor bowler? Uh-oh. That's trouble. Of all the times to get the 7-10 split, it has to be in the championship match. And again, here's a situation just like McGuanago faced a little bit earlier. Emil, you take your one, make sure you get one out of this, and just come back and get him next time. That was a good ball delivered for Falls. That's just a tough break on the 7-10. So take one. That's what they do.
Oh.
He gave it a run.
You never know. And that would have been, you're talking about capping or icing on the cake. That would have been a cap right there.
Now, a 5 count in frame number 6 over on the left side for McGuanago leads me to try and do some math here. And it looks like McGuanago's still going to be in the driver's seat. Getting this spare would go a long way. That's a nice converted spare.
And that's not easy. They
That's
call
big
that the
time.
old bucket and a biscuit from what I've heard. And Jesse, want to take a quick opportunity to welcome in PBA Tour Commissioner Mr. Tom Clark to the broadcast. And, man, Tom, thank you for sharing a few frames with us.
Hey, guys. Thanks for being here to cover this thing. It's awesome. It's awesome. Been here all week. My son bowls high school and advanced to the singles championship. His team didn't make it here because of this team right here, McGuanago. I've been watching McGuanago all year, and they're a great squad.
Yeah, they are a strong team, and they always are. They are
Yeah.
one of the best. The team that finished as runners-up a year ago.
Well, they are a testament to a great coach, a great person like Chris Lauber taking control of a program. And it helps that his son is a spectacular bowler in the anchor position, Brady. But Chris Lauber is as dedicated as anybody in the country, and he knows how to build a program. And he's brought an athletic mindset to the way McGuanago approaches bowling, and they've been fun to watch. But Zimbars and
Menominee Falls.
yeah, Menominee Falls.
Heck of a bowler.
That kid's been good. I've been watching that kid since he was about 10 years old, and he was winding on it back then, you know. But the BPAA and the Wisconsin High School Bowling Club, incredible job all year long to keep this thing alive under all these trying circumstances. And give these kids an opportunity to compete all year, and then to come here to Ashwaubenon Bowling Green Bay and compete like this. When a lot of places around the country have been not able to do it, is a testament to all of those people. I mean, Roger Dalkin. When you have the former executive director of the USBC involved, you're in good shape, you know.
Usually helps.
McGuanago.
This one thing I'll say to you guys. Sorry to interrupt, and I'm going to get out of your way here in a minute because I'm actually nervous. I feel it. I love watching high school bowling.
Yeah, I was only going to keep you for a couple frames and let you get out.
It's fantastic.
I love it. But I'll tell you one thing. Whoops, that's a big miss. When what you're looking at here is they're bowling on different pairs.
Mm-hmm.
So you have one team on the right lane, the other team on the left lane of the pair. That might seem odd. That's exactly what we do at the PBA League.
Mm-hmm.
When you watch the PBA League from Bayside Bowl, the greatest bowlers in the world, in this exact same format, Baker Bowling, you see them bowl just like this, and it enables you to have all the team's balls on one rack, and so it ends up working out, even though it might look odd to the eye. We got some missed spares here happening.
Yeah, these missed
We got a
spares
real
come
tight
back
match.
to haunt a few teams.
Well, keep your eye on Brady Lauber in the anchor position, because I've seen that kid struck more than anybody in high school bowling this year, and he is a great athlete. He's still only in 11th grade.
Much needed break.
Rule number 1.
Take it.
Don't complain about a strike.
Just take it.
Especially with the way that this was going in
If
the
I
early
take
stages.
nothing away from meeting Jesse today, it's rule number 1.
Rule number 1. Never complain about a strike.
Oh,
good
Now
shot.
that was a good
That was a big
strike.
strike. Big strike when it's the 9th frame and Brady's up next. I mean, that's setting the stage. That that's the foundation frame.
We talk about the significance of the anchor bowlers and how pivotal they've been all day, but that fourth bowler in that fourth and ninth frame, setting up the anchor bowler, the foundation frame, that is so pivotal for a team's success. When you can make a huge run at the end of a game, like we see when you get into the 10th frame, you can string 3, 4, 5 in a row at the end. I mean, that ninth bowler is very important for Mukwonago to take advantage. That's big, and likewise for Menominee Falls.
Let's see,
Might have some trouble picking up this split.
And Brady can put a big hammer on him right here if he strikes the first ball in the 10th. With that.
You can tell how important this frame is. Everyone has gone quiet. Teammates intently watching.
You might want to keep a camera on Brady because he's going to run this out.
Uh-oh.
Hold it. Hold it.
Oh my gosh.
Stop it! What are we doing?
Now, wait a minute. I said he was good, but I don't know. I didn't say he was that
lucky.
good.
Or is he magic? Is he a magician? What's he doing?
We'll take a little luck every now and then.
Unbelievable.
The only thing that would top that was he made the spare and nearly gave it a run.
A break like that could actually motivate Menominee Falls. You know, I mean, that's where you get a little chip on your shoulder and say, wait a minute, what's going on here? So game 2 is going to be really exciting. I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to go back and enjoy watching this as a fan because it's awesome stuff. And thanks for what you guys do.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks so
Appreciate
much,
you.
man. Appreciate it. Just unbelievable that they were in this position. And now, Brady again. I don't think he's going to get so lucky this time.
You know, that's interesting. And so now getting an opportunity to watch him again, these last 2 shots. Again, you hit the reset button when you make the lane switch. But I think he's thinking from an angle perspective, I've got to open up just a little bit more. And that was a good example of the miss that you can have. Where, like I talked about earlier, when you miss right. Now, good single pin, though.
Yeah, that's Brendan Zimdars, I should say, who finished 4th in the singles competition a little bit earlier today. So we'll see now as the anchor bowlers go toe-to-toe in the 10th. Every pin matters.
Again,
So it's a 171 for Mukwonago after 10 frames. Max 160 for Menominee Falls. If they can get a strike here from Zimdars, this will still be anyone's game heading into
and I think
the
this
final
would be the closest match we've had today after one game.
Yeah,
perhaps?
unless he chucks this one in the gutter, yeah.
So if it's 11 pins, I mean, or in this case, 11. You're talking about 1 spare. That's 1 spare.
Brendan Zimdars, senior. Knocks down 8 for a 158. And it's a 13-point pin advantage for Mukwonago heading into the final game of Championship Sunday.
Listen, Jesse, at this point now, you know what to expect. You know what we're looking for. Each time, teams have seemed like they're going to take advantage and just move on out the way, essentially, and cruise to a state title. It hasn't been the case.
Yep.
The team that has been losing, down on their way to that second game, has started red hot, grabbed the momentum, but the winning team overall somehow found a way to find a late rhythm, stack some strikes, and ultimately pull away with the victory. I'm not sure if that's going to be the case in this particular match because these 2 teams are really, really even. And again, this is the lowest deficit we've had in our matches after 1 game.
Yeah, this is going to be a tight one. There's Menominee Falls getting fired up. Mukwonago. I expect to replicate something similar here as they get going.
Yeah.
As they switch sides, Falls on the left, Mukwonago on the right.
To me, this is an even match right now, even though it's an 11-pin difference.
13
pin difference.
That's essentially 1 split.
Yep.
1 made spare on a single pin, perhaps.
That's a mark. And so right now, Menominee Falls is already down a mark if you think about it like that.
And a powerful start for Falls.
as a leadoff bowler, you talked about your leadoff role. I, too, bowled leadoff a lot when I bowled collegiately, and you'd love to have a shot like that to open up a game.
There's nothing better when you get that money right away.
And then instantly, when they see the opponent leave anything that's not a strike,
Yep.
you get up and you go at.
Yeah,
after.
that was another thing I always loved to do. I loved to be the first shot.
Yes.
I didn't want to see the other team go first. I wanted to get up there, and I wanted to throw right away, set the tone. Maybe I was too confident in myself sometimes, but.
No, you can't be overconfident.
Sure you can. Let's see what Falls has in store here. That hung right. That hung right. A little too far out.
That's the miss. That's the one thing you can't do on this pattern. Is, again, as we mentioned, the misses have been, if you miss right, those are the leaves that you find yourself with. And unfortunately for McGuanago, not certainly the way you'd like to start what is essentially the championship game.
And now we're basically tied.
Yeah, it only takes one frame, especially when you're only talking about 13 pins.
Would be a big spare for Falls. Yeah, that's a big pickup. Wow. 1 pin difference. McGuanago leads by 1.
I'm hoping that was Zachary Lauer, based on the way the lineup is written. But I liked how, and a lot of players wouldn't do that. He took his plastic ball and went straight at that 1-2-4-7, which, depending on how you look at it, you can say, oh, don't do it. But I love the way that he did it, and he tacked it and got it done. And then, of course, McGuanago does exactly what you want to do. Pick your teammate up, open frame early, comes back with a strike in the second.
Oh, man, second game has just been so good in all these championship matches. These two teams appear to have made some proper adjustments. Those nerves are gone. Maybe, I mean, as we've seen with other teams today, those first games, sometimes they're so rough. But it's like, okay, just clear your head, play loose. You got it out of the way. It's still close. Let's go have some fun, and let's try and win a title. That's what we've seen throughout the day at every division, both boys and girls.
Yep.
It's been awesome bowling today.
That was unfortunately just a miss there from McGuanago. You know, if this format was a longer, like if this was a best of 5 or even a best of, I won't say best of 3, but if we got to a 3-game situation or a 5-game situation, you'd see a lot more kind of in-game adjustments, and you know, you'd see the lane start to break down a little bit more. The transition may come into play, but 2 quick games, you won't see too many of those things. Uh-oh.
A gentle tap is all it takes.
Listen, you just need to knock it over in this sport, and he did just that.
Counts a save as if he would have drilled it at 20 miles an hour. Uh-oh. That's a tough miss for McGuanago. Falls with momentum after they pick up their spare just barely. And now a miscue for McGuanago.
So 2 out of 3 opens to start the championship game. Obviously, worst case scenario for McGuanago in this situation. Can Menominee Falls? Talked about the foundation and setup. Here's a good opportunity there. That is way left.
Might have been so left that it almost worked.
I was about to say.
Oh, almost got the roll with a little spin.
That's a win for McGuanago, because they don't see a strike on the board, and then they can come back and do exactly what they just did. It's the little intricacies of this sport, man, and being involved, and especially with Baker, you know that Menominee Falls was hoping to strike. Obviously, we all want to strike, right? But put a little intensity, put a little pressure in that 4th frame. Instead, they don't, and all the times, you know, you really just need to see your opponent not strike to give you some additional confidence. 9 spare, doesn't matter. It matters for Menominee Falls. All for McGuanago is it matters that, hey, that wasn't 10 back.
I love the composure we've seen from both of these teams specifically in this championship match. Nobody's getting 2 up or 2 down.
Yep.
We've seen with some other teams that there's a little emotion worn on the sleeves. Not really for these 2, except now they're starting to feel it. Oh, we have a celebration. He ran out of the camera shoot.
Yeah, it was. Tom mentioned it. If Brady was going to strike in that 10th frame in game 1, he was going to run it out, and he did just that. Zendars. Dang. Big shot there for Brendan. We saw him earlier. Jesse, you talked about the amount of games that he's bowled this week.
So much bowling.
Here at the state tournament.
It was all building for this, though, for that shot.
Listen, man, it's a 5. Now, literally, it's a 5-frame sprint to the state championship.
And it's anybody's match right now. I'm going to make a prediction, Emil. Next Open loses the championship.
That wouldn't be a bad prediction.
Ooh, good break.
Excellent.
Needed a little luck there, and he got it.
Excellent break. Just leaves a single pin, just the two. The two pin, that is. McGuanago with a makeable, certainly, but not the easiest of spares.
One hiding behind there.
1, 2, 4, 8.
Looks good.
Solid.
Perfect delivery on that spare.
Solid. Kason Coyle. That's a name I hadn't heard in a while. Kason, how you doing? Appreciate everyone tuning in for the final frames here of the Boys Co-Ed Team Division I Championship and the final match overall on what has been an excellent championship Sunday. Emil Williams Jr. with ESPN Madison's Jesse Nelson here on Bowl Stream TV. Just frames away from crowning the champion.
And you can see as the totals add up on the scoreboards on the monitor here, Menominee Falls, trailed by 13 coming into this, has a slight advantage. Up by 20 in this game, with both teams starting the 7th frame. It means they've got a 7-pin advantage right now.
It's interesting. That's a very good break, by the way, from McGuanago. That could have been much worse, but able to break down and just leave a single pin.
Big shot. First arrow, gonna walk it in.
Roll it two, roll it two.
Ugh. You don't see that too often. We just saw 2 in this game for Menominee Falls leaving the 2-pin.
Coach Walter Wright, Coach Carter Robbins listed on this roster. Just doing the pace right now. That's another thing they always kind of keep an eye on, the coaches. Are they pacing around? Not trying to obviously take too much attention away, but coaches get nervous too.
Hooked it.
The way this thing is setting up, Brendan Zimdars, who had a chance to win a singles title this morning, may have a chance to close it out in the 10th frame for his team.
And remember how emotional Zimdars was earlier today when he was struggling. I wonder if that will come into play in the 10th frame. But at this rate, now with McGuanago's open and Falls continuing to mark, I wonder if that may even come into question. Falls in the driver's seat. The 5th seed in the stepladder yesterday.
You talking about making the climb. Man.
If they win it, they would have beaten Oak Creek, Stevens Point, Kimberly, and McGuanago to get there. And as we saw between the singles competition and this team competition and in past histories, that's a bit of a who's who.
They cannot be in a better position with 3 frames to go. 3 of your best, certainly, in the bottom of your lineup.
That looks like a good ball. Oh, it came high.
Wow.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Oh, it came high. I didn't see that coming down the lane.
3, 4, 6, 7, 10.
I thought that was going to sit.
It was just a touch in, just a hair left, and his last shot, it looked to be, I thought he got it right on his last shot, but he ends up leaving a 4-pin.
Ooh.
And that time it's in, he leaves the big split, and then on the other side, right now, McGuanago, their second ball is not being kind to them on.
So what do we do here now? Strategy time for Falls. Do you try and go for this? Do you take the 3? If you take the 3, you got 140 in the 8th. Compared to 115, you'd be up by a mark. If you go for it, you might get 1 fewer, but you got a chance to make a spare and ultimately seal the match.
I think you got to go for the count here.
And it looks like that's what they do. Yeah, just take the 3.
You got to get the count and trust that the individuals that you have in the 9th and 10th frames are why you have them there. And also, they have to expect that McGuanago is going to put up a fight here late. And so their max score, speaking of Menominee Falls, 200. If let's say we fill frames, let's say they shoot 180, that still puts them in a very good situation overall.
Trailing by 13 entering this game, as you can see in that number listed above the current game score.
This is the shot here.
Foundation frame. Another 2-pin. It's 3 in this game.
That means they're close.
Yep.
They're in the vicinity, but whether it's angle, whether it's ball motion, or needing to throw a different bowling ball, sometimes it just comes down to those minute differences. McGuanago is going to, okay, I thought he was going to wait for Menominee Falls to finish.
Brady Lauber wants the ball.
All right, here is Brady. Max score 175.
Chance to win it for McGuanago.
That would win it.
High on the head pin. Leaves one. This is crazy.
Max score now for McGuanago is 326.
Wow.
169. And that is a winner. So there's a few scenarios for Brendan Zimdars. And what did I say earlier in this one, Jesse? This one seems like it was going to come down to Brendan having a chance in the 10th frame. Didn't win a singles title earlier. He could win it here in the 10th frame.
Brady Lauber ain't going to miss that spare. 155 max for McGuanago.
Right now, Brendan needs a mark.
He can essentially win it with a strike.
Needs a mark. A strike certainly would do it. For a championship. Oh, there it is.
Yes!
And there it is. And there it is.
They're going to run the ladder.
Wow. You talking about saving your best for last? Aced that shot. That right there wins titles, my friends, ladies and gentlemen.
Zimdars was frustrated earlier today because he didn't fare as well as he would have hoped in the individuals state championships, but he comes back with the shot to win the title for Menominee Falls. And for the second straight year, McGuanago is going to finish as the runners-up at the high school bowling state championships. Total ends up being 326 for McGuanago. Falls has already exceeded that. Final pin is down. It's a 180 this game. It's a 338 total. And Menominee Falls has won the Division I Boys Co-Ed Team State Championships.
If you were to get the dictionary out, and obviously dictionaries, just words, but if you had phrases, okay, what does a shot look like? Maybe you YouTube it, maybe you Google it. Show me a shot to win a title. What Brendan Zimdars just did is exactly what would appear and what you'd want to see.
Fantastic bowling. Unbelievable. Unbelievable performance from Menominee Falls to go as the 5 seed last night, beat Oak Creek, beat Stevens Point, beat Kimberly, and take down number 1 seed McGuanago here on Sunday afternoon. Hats off to Falls.
That was impressive stuff there, and you gotta feel certainly for McGuanago. We talked about it in the pregame, Jesse, and a chance to get back to right where they wanted to be, a chance to kind of redeem themselves.
They were so close.
And find themselves, again, just a few pin shot.
Unbelievable. And Menominee Falls, by the way, last night in the first step ladder match against Oak Creek, trailed after one game by 13 pins against another District 1 team that they're used to seeing.
Yeah.
It's the same story here in the second game of the championship match. They overcome and get the win. And it's time, Emil, to award some awards.
Let's do it, my man.
awards, I want to thank all the people that kind of helped me out and helped out make this a great weekend. So, on site helping Hank Poznansky was kind of our front door, and on the high school committee helping out for the weekend. Our BCAW president Eric Giadella came up for today to help out. Also high school board, committee member, past president for BCAW Sislevich. Bob Schmidt over here from Watertown. Roger Dawkins around here somewhere. From the program director from BCAW. And I'm Dick Zerke. I'm on the high school committee. I'm from La Crosse. And I was the tournament director for the weekend. So thanks to Matt, and Ryan, and Dave Lamar, and everybody here at Ashwaubenon. John Bowen, that's all the lot. Jesse and Emil. Nope, thanks for coming in today. So hope everybody had a great weekend, and we're going to turn it over to Jesse.
Let's get a round of applause for our bowlers this afternoon. Awesome. All right, teams, when your name is called, please head on up to the lanes and you can grab your medals and the trophy, and then pictures will be taken over near lanes 3 and 4. We'll begin with Division 2. Finishing as the 2021 state runners-up, Elkhart Lake Glenbeulah. Let's hear it again for the Resorters. And your 2021 Division II Boys Co-Ed Team State Champions, the Clinton Cougars. Let's hear it one more time for Clinton. Division I, your 2021 state runners-up, McGuanago. That was a heck of a match. Let's give it up one more time for McGuanago. last but not least, the 2021 Wisconsin High School Bowling Division I Boys Co-Ed Team State Champion, Menominee Falls! One more time, let's hear it for the champs from Falls. Once again, let's give it up to everybody here at the Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley for all their efforts all weekend long. Also thanks to BCAW volunteers making this event happen all throughout the day, all throughout the weekend. You can watch the broadcast of today's finals on Bowlstream TV, on YouTube and on BowlstreamTV.com. And that's BowlstreamTV.com. Broadcast will be available in full anytime you want to watch it. BowlstreamTV.com, the Bowlstream TV YouTube page. Thank you for getting us in. From Emil Williams Jr. My name is Jesse Nelson. Thanks everybody for coming out to the 2021 Wisconsin High School Bowling Club State Championships.
Well, my friend, first of all, obviously, excellent job. How about the day overall, right?
I mean, just fantastic. Just start to finish. We saw it in the singles competition out of the gates. It's always tough in the early mornings, and they brought it today, and that competition was electric. It was fun. I thought that maybe the condensed fan environment would create a little less passion, a little less energy than we're used to seeing here at the state title, but no, the people that were here just brought it a little more than they would normally, which is hard to believe, but they found something down underneath that they were able to do it. And what a fantastic day, Emil. The state championships never disappoint. Great bowling, great championship matches. Those second games of those championships were just fantastic to sit back and enjoy. So it's my pleasure to be here with you for the first time, with you calling all the action here today. Love it. Can't wait to see it again next year in 2022. Let's do it again.
Yeah, I'm at not a loss for words, but just very pleased and just excited about, obviously, the youth of our sport, where they're going, and certainly the state of Wisconsin and the many. You know, I've always known Wisconsin to be one of the best bowling states or bowling communities around, and certainly get a chance to see it kind of at the grassroots level, at the youth level, and fantastic. A lot of people to thank, certainly, but before we do, let's run down the winners just to recap today's festivities. Jesse, what do you got?
Yeah, so let's start with the singles competition earlier today. Congratulations to the girls state champion. Back-to-back senior Stephanie Zagar from Kenosha Bradford wins her second straight girls singles state championship earlier today, defeating Mackenzie Phillips of West Bend East in the championship match. For the boys, in that singles competition, it was the number 2 seed, Christopher Richardson of Kimberly. The Papermakers have another state title, not something they're not used to. They win a lot of state titles.
Love that name.
But
and the Resorters.
It is, yes. Christopher Richardson, congratulations. He walks away as a senior, as a state champion for the boys singles competition, defeating Ian Yost from Omro, 246 to 170 in that championship match. Then we switch it over to the girls. Their team competition got concluded earlier today. A couple of great, thrilling final matches. The Peshtigo Bulldogs end up winning the state title in Division II, defeating the Monona Grove Silver Eagles. Peshtigo wins the gold, Monona Grove the silver. And then in the girls team Division I competition, it was down to the wire, but Sheboygan and their co-op program ends up defeating Holman Bangor to win the Division I girls team competition. The boys, this was also a ton of fun. The number 1 seed Clinton Cougars win the state championship in Division II, defeating number 2 seed Elkhart Lake Glen Beulah. in a thrilling championship match. And last but not least, the number 5 seed runs the ladder in Division 1. Menominee Falls defeats number 1 seed McGuanago, their District 1 rival, to win the state championship.
Incredible stuff. Incredible. Congrats to all of today's champions, the runner-ups, and everyone who made it to the finals, of course, and everyone who participated in the event as well. Obviously, everyone cannot win, but the experience and everything that comes with that cannot be measured. Before we go, certainly want to thank everyone involved with this great event. I know I'm going to leave some names, so Jesse, help me out if you hear someone that I did not call. I want to start with Yvonne Tyson-Bennett. I appreciate her. Personally for me and helping keep the relationship with Bowlstream TV alive. Not going to lie, I felt maybe a touch of pressure because Craig has done a great job at this event overall, and I'd like to certainly do the same and continue to help grow this wonderful event, and hopefully, minus some internet technical difficulties, all was well in that department today.
Emil, I'd say this. I don't make that decision, but I hope that it's made in that way. I loved working with you today, man. Hopefully we get to do this again next year.
I appreciate you. Dick Zerke, who was just doing the same thing and thanking a lot of the staff members. He mentioned Hank, Eric, Steve, Bob, of course, Roger Dalkin. We'll talk to Roger in just a second. Matt and Ryan Orvis from the Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley hitting the reset on the modem a couple times for us today.
Hey, that was big.
Yes,
that was big today.
It was. Yes, it was. Craig Elliott, of course, former owner of Bowlstream TV.
Miss you, Craig.
Craig, I appreciate you. We had some FaceTime last night to make sure I had some things that I was having some troubles with. So that's a good do right there, and I appreciate it. And certainly, last but not least, all of our sponsors here, Storm, Pepsi, QubicaAMF, BCAW, of course, the high school bowling club as a whole. Anyone I'm missing?
H5G, the new apparel company this year. They are making some awesome apparel for all the kids to take home. That's one of the things. Everyone needs to get that state sweatshirt with their name on it. And so H5G getting it done in the back room here at the Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley. Great job by them all weekend long making it happen. Love it.
That'll do it for us, folks. Shout out to, again, High Five Gear and everyone involved, volunteers, the proprietors, the staff, everyone. Thank you so very much. For Jesse Nelson of ESPN Madison, ESPN Wisconsin, my name is Emil Williams Jr. Until the next event on Bowlstream TV, of course, don't forget you can go back and watch the archived version of both singles and team from today, all on Bowlstream TV. Folks, stay safe, be blessed. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.